No, no, I saw the combo. It was pretty good. You should be proud. Hopefully it's not the only thing you've done lately that you're proud of, but um, you know, you take what you can, I suppose, with you people. What's up? Yippee. Yippee. I like your denim jacket. Thank you. You can just say jacket. You don't have to impress me. All right. Dude, it's been so long since I streamed later at night. Holy shit, I'm tired. Which of these buttons do you press to make the thing work? I think I figured it out. Oh boy. Yeah, there's not really any getting around this, I guess. It's so like it's so crazy. You just have to address it right away. I can't clickbait with it basically. Um Hegseth and other Trump officials conducted top secret um you know, they conducted top secret military discussions over the Signal app, and they accidentally invited the editor-in-chief. It was editor-in-chief, co-editor-in-chief of the Atlantic. It's kind of difficult to get around, I guess. I don't know. Here, the Trump administration accidentally texted me its war plans. I don't know what else to say. War Thunder forums in shambles. Yeah, what's the point of being? Listen, okay, what we're witnessing here is an unprecedented attack strategy against whistleblowers. If you simply have no national secrets, look, this is being done in service of airstrikes in Yemen, which you know, obviously, it's just it doesn't. Regardless of your feelings and keeping the Red Sea trade routes open, which I think is a good thing. Um, you know, this doesn't seem to be working at all. We're not really talking about the military strategy at hand here. We're talking about accidentally adding a goddamn journalist, or I should say, a journalist. Unfortunately, and I know this is really sad. Jeffrey Goldberg, after being added to the group chat, left a little while after and isn't publishing some stuff. So they are being massive pussies here. I mean, you're literally a journalist. I mean, it's not. Yeah, right? Oh, thank you very much for the coffee. I'm sorry.
Bro.
You're trying to tell me bombing random citizens doesn't stop pirates from pirating? Well, it could if you did it well enough. You know? Anyway, people are losing their minds. Absolutely. It might actually be the single largest national security blunder in history. Can someone think, like, again, you have to understand, like, to conduct top secret military, like a tribunal, they popped open a new group chat. They added a reporter. What this means is they're using Signal for all of their communication, by the way. The reason they're doing that is because they're trying to avoid laws about the recording of conversations within the executive branch. If you operate, the president or member of the secretary, normally these conversations are recorded. So what they're doing is they're trying to get around that. Even Ryan Macbeth said this was stupid, and he works for Newsmax. Yeah, I have actually seen. There was a former, was it Fox News correspondent? Was it Fox News who responded to? Let me find it. Let me find it. Here we go. Okay, so Pete Hegseth upon landing. Okay, so Pete Hegseth having an actual IRL, like the group chat has been leaked moment right here. Sir, the group chat has been leaked. When the plane lands, the reporters will have questions. And here we go.
Can you share how your information about war plans against the Houthis in Yemen was shared with a journalist in The Atlantic? And were those details classified?
You're talking about a deceitful and highly discredited so-called journalist who's...
That you added to the group chat. So to be clear, and this is one of the things that I like about when politicians just get off a plane, he is essentially saying that The Atlantic is disreputable and you can't trust them. The administration had already confirmed it at this point. So he's reflexively lying. He hasn't even had time to gather his story. By this point, the administration's already confirmed. There's no doubt about it. But obviously, he's like, oh, well, didn't happen, you know?
Made a profession of peddling hoaxes time and time again, to include the hoaxes of Russia, or the fine people on both sides hoax.
It did, like, reflect, sir, this is the most embarrassing national security blunder in maybe forever. Do you have anything to say? It didn't happen. 2016 meme, another 2016 meme. It is still 2016 or 2017, maybe.
Or suckers and losers hoax. So
Jesus Christ.
this is the guy that peddles in garbage. This is what he does. I would love to comment on the Houthi campaign because of the skill and...
Oh, he's doing great. Oh, man. The, like, fake half laugh. He's doing great.
What he does. I would love to comment on the Houthi campaign because of the skill and courage of our troops. I've monitored it very closely from the beginning. And you see, we've been managing 4 years of deferred maintenance under the Trump administration. Our troops, our sailors were getting shot at as targets. Our ships couldn't sail through. And when they did shoot back...
The Atlantic editor was invited in by Michael Waltz, Trump's national security advisor. He's not publishing the things that would literally put him in jail for treason or kill troopers. Well, first of all, if it gets American soldiers killed, maybe they shouldn't have been soldiers for the Fourth Reich. Secondly, he's a journalist. It's his job. Third of all, when officials from the Trump administration are actively leaking top secret information, that's on them. You know what I mean? It's not like, it's not whistleblowing, you know? It's not subject to those same protections. You're not like ferreting the information out to release to journalists. They added you, a journalist. I mean, I'm just saying. At the very least, like, staying in that group chat, recording absolutely everything, and then, like, sending it off to, like, 15 different media friends. Hey, if I get killed, like, release this, please. And then talking about it, you know.
Back, it was purely defensively, or at shacks in Yemen. President Trump said, no more. We will reestablish deterrence. We will open freedom of navigation, and we will ultimately decimate the Houthis, which is...
That's great. Yeah, so anyway, you spin the bullshit cycle like the moment you get the chance to, even if the administration has already confirmed the veracity of the claims. Trump did the same thing.
Mr. President, your reaction to the story in The Atlantic that said that some of your top cabinet officials and aides had been discussing very sensitive material through Signal and included an Atlantic reporter for that. What is your response to that?
I don't know anything about it. I'm not a big fan of The Atlantic. To me, it's a magazine that's going out of business. I think it's not much of a magazine, but I know nothing about it. You're saying that they had what?
They were using Signal to coordinate on sensitive materials and
having to do with what? Having to do with what? What were they talking about?
Dude, bro's finding out for the literally. Somebody should have talked to him before. He's like, wait. He's caught. Hold. Wait. What were they doing? Signal? Wait, what were they talking about? The Atlantic, I don't like them, but wait, seriously though, what were they talking about? Like, it wasn't anything bad, right? Yeah, he wasn't in the group chat.
The Houthis, you mean the attack on the Houthis? Well, it couldn't have been very effective because the attack was very effective. I can tell you that. I don't know anything about it. You're telling me about it for the first time. Anybody else?
So my understanding is this group chat took place a while ago. Not like a long time ago, but like a little while ago. And don't replay. I didn't hit play. Fuck you, X the everything app. Yeah, it was like a week or two ago, something like that. And the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic didn't really know if it was real until the strikes in Yemen started to take place as they were described in the conversation. Like the idea being essentially like, well, this could be some kind of elaborate prank. I mean, how do you verify that, right? You're the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic. You get added to a private signal chat with Pete Hegseth. Like, what do you how do you like call the White House and be like, hey, was that real? But then the Houthi strikes took place as was discussed in the conversation. So there you go. There's a 0% chance this is the first time this mistake has been made. Oh, God, absolutely, this has happened before. Just hasn't been published before. But yeah, they're conducting all their conversations on Signal in a deliberate effort to illegally avoid laws concerning transparency, disclosure, and recording in the executive branch. It's very illegal. Now, The Atlantic did not release the entirety of the screenshotted conversations. They're honest to God, they're talking to each other in private kind of the same way they talk to each other in public a little bit, except maybe a little bit less slogan-y. Pete Hegseth says, VP, I fully share your loathing of European freeloading. It's pathetic. But Mike is correct. We are the only ones on the planet, on our side of the ledger, who can do this. No one else even close. Question is timing. I feel like now is as good as ever given POTUS directive to reopen shipping lanes. I think we should go, but POTUS still retains 24 hours of decision space. They added King Jong-un? Yeah, probably. I don't think Elon was in here. Yeah, Stephen Miller says, as I heard it, the president was clear, green light, but we soon make clear to Egypt and Europe what we expect in return. We also need to figure out how to enforce such a requirement, e.g. if Europe doesn't remunerate. Remunerate? I guess he's smarter than me. Then what? If the U.S. successfully restores freedom of navigation at great cost, there needs to be some further economic gain extracted in return. Yeah, I know remunerate, not remunerate. They're talking like mafia dons in private, which is pretty funny. Yeah, protection racket. If you think we should do it, just let's go. I hate bailing out Europe again. And let's just make sure our messaging is tight here. If there are things we can do up front to minimize risk to Saudi oil facilities, we should do it. So the content of the messages, honestly, it's kind of summed up by the tweet here. But in return for keeping the Red Sea trade routes clear, they want to extort Europe and Egypt, but protect Saudi Arabia. Even though Saudi Arabia benefits massively from a cleared Red Sea, and Saudi Arabia is literally the country most responsible for the Houthis. So, in other words, we're cucked to Saudi Arabia. Or, more accurately, like, this has nothing to do with responsibility or, like, paying up for damages caused, and everything to do with, like, we cozy up to dictators. But they openly hate Europe, man. They really fucking hate democracies. That's it, by the way. That's, like, the only reason. They despise democracies. They're fine with Saudi Arabia, obviously. Except for Hungary. But Hungary's not doing so well. Anyone think anything will even come of this? Well, I don't want to be that guy who gets hope up for no reason. This one's really bad. Like, this is really, really, really embarrassing. Now, if you're asking, like, will it lead to these people being fired? God, no, of course not. But will it be used to build sentiment against them, even from people who previously wouldn't have felt that sentiment? Maybe, yeah. It's pretty bad. Well, for one, it's another gigantic red flag to Europe, right? The fact that you have these executive officials talking in private, being like, yeah, fuck Europe. Like, not so, which confirms this isn't being done as like a big posture. This isn't being done as part of some big ploy to, you know, get better tariff negotiations, reduce their tariffs on us, whatever. Like, they really just fucking hate them, you know? That's one. For two, this is... Man, I don't want to overstate my case, but I think this might be the single biggest incompetence we've seen from the Trump administration ever. Like, more so than anything that happened in the first term. I like, it's crazy to say that, but I think it clears the others, like, by far. Which is insane. You know? List of people in the group chat. Mike Walsh, J.D. Vance, Pete Hegseth, Marco Rubio, Tulsi Gabbard. Of course Tulsi Gabbard's there. John Ratcliffe, Susie Wiles, Steve Witkoff, Stephen Miller, others. Jeffrey Goldberg. Jeffrey Goldberg, just chilling down here. Others not ominous at all. Yeah, God knows how many people they invited. Trump was not there. Notable standouts, like we're talking about foreign policy. We're talking about strikes in the Houthis, you know? Everyone here makes sense to me, except for Stephen Miller. I don't know. I mean, you can say it, sure. Maybe he's there, fine. He's in a lot of places, isn't he? People have already said Stephen Miller is, like, weirdly overrepresented as, like, the little Nazi goblin running around tweaking things behind the scenes. You know, he did speech writing for Trump officials. This is the same thing that Republicans railed Hillary for, but there's so much. But they're incomparable. But again, it doesn't matter. Like, the hypocrisy line isn't going to get you for, you know? It's like it's not gonna work. He might be even more shadow president to Elon. I think he's up there in the shadow president registry, you know? I think he's up there. I think that he's next to Musk. Now, Musk is not here. First of all, just think for a second. If you were creating a group chat for any reason, would you invite Elon? Is that the kind of vibe you'd want to bring to the party? Just think for like 2 seconds. Fuck no. And we know he wasn't there because if he was there, he would have he would have messaged something stupid. Like immediately. There's absolutely no chance he was there because he would have said something stupid immediately. So we know that. Yeah, really, it's just Stephen Miller. Everyone else here. What are my thoughts on this? For one, really does reaffirm that Trump is not in charge, huh? Not even a little bit. Like, this is everyone but the president, basically, who's you would expect to be involved in the high-level decision-making that they're engaging in here. I still find it funny Trump was not in the loop. He doesn't know how to use Signal. Are you kidding me? He's like 80. He's chilling. Yeah, he's out golfing. Wait, did they not clear it with him? Who knows? We don't know if Trump is aware of the fact that all of his scheming viziers are opening up their own private group chats. In my opinion, and it's just my opinion, okay? They're all aware of the fact that Trump is not actually in charge, and they're also aware of the fact that Elon is a retard, and they want to get this done. They're just using Trump as like a guiding voice because they know they can't publicly contradict him. Apart from that, they want to make the decisions. Like, this is like a who's who of people who are like desperate, greedy power mongers, right? Like, these people want to be in the room where it happens. Trump doesn't fucking care, dude. He wants to play golf. He doesn't care. Trump doesn't care if people make decisions behind his back. And even if he did care, I don't know if he'd be able to do much about it. He does not give a fuck about policy. Remember that report from his first presidential term where they said that his advisors had to start, like, simplifying his reports, the ones they gave him on foreign policy, national affairs, they had to cut down the word count and add pictures. That's not a joke. They had to add his name more because they found he was more likely to read articles that had his name in it. Like he would be more, because otherwise he would like look at it, he'd go, and then later he wouldn't remember what was in it because he didn't actually read it. There are more messages, by the way. Oh, right, sorry. How could I forget the most mimetic part of the Houthi PC small group? JD Vance says, excellent. John Ratcliffe says, a good start. Michael Waltz, fist bump, America flag, flame emoji. Let's go. Good job, Pete, and your team. The team in MAL did a great job as well. Great work, all. Powerful start. Hell yeah, brother. Dudes rock. Dudes rock. Anyway, this is extremely embarrassing. I really think that, I mean, if nothing else, this is going to be used as ammunition against the administration basically forever. Like, it's objectively embarrassing, I guess is what I mean to say. It's not one of those culture war points where it's like that other people can argue it's based. There are going to be people, and it's already happening, you know, Republican operatives, pundits, who are like, well, this is a sign of transparency. Conducting our group meetings over Signal so that it's not recorded and they can illegally avoid the recording of their conversations is in the federal records. Like that's actually transparency. They're going to do that. They're going to do that. But it doesn't matter. Everyone knows this is embarrassing. Does an average American care about this? People need to be made to care about shit, okay? The average American wouldn't care about someone fucking them in the ass unless somebody on TV told them it was a big deal, okay? People are stupid. Thankfully, this is a bit of incompetency that even Democrats can latch onto, you know? Like, it's not like, anything related to the ongoing brutality against the Palestinian people. It's not anything related to, like, have they? There are people being mad about it. Somebody asked earlier, by the way, why they're being antagonistic against Egypt. Like, if it's a democracy versus autocracy thing, why are they looking to extort Egypt? Because Egypt's anti-Israel. That's why. It really is that simple. Egypt is an American ally, and they are a partner of ours. But at the same time, there are like significant political. Egypt's not very anti-Israel nowadays compared to what we'd like. Jordan also hates Israel. Well, they still work with Israel. They have to. It's all like American, you know, foreign power shit. The Egyptian government does not work with Israel as much as we would like. You know, the reason they kicked off the renewed slaughter of the Palestinian people a few weeks ago is because Netanyahu used that ceasefire, period, in an attempt to find a way to ethnically displace Palestinians. The reason we're seeing what like the slaughter continue right now is because they tried, it's just like with the Germans and the Jews, right? Tried to find a place they could send them to, but Egypt was not taking those Palestinians. This might be punishment for that. It's just optically messy for everyone that you know, Israel be getting rid of all the Palestinians the way they are. It's just look, there are reasons. Yeah, but that's not really Egypt being anti-Israel. That's Egypt hating Palestinians too. It's functionally in this case, it's irrelevant. Those are the same thing. It's anti their political interest. Egypt openly said they're willing to fully fund the rebuilding of Gaza, and Israel hated that. Yeah. Well, it's really funny, man. Okay, March 15th was when Goldberg got the conversation. The National Security Council is looking into the matter. Oh, man. I assume that on Fox News, they're all going like, thank God President Trump hired people with such moral courage or, you know, whatever the fuck. But in the rest of the world, people are going pretty crazy over this. We're laughing our asses off over in Europe, Lamau. Well, I mean, I do hope you guys take to heart like how significant and sincere the hatred for Europe from these guys are. You need to hunker the fuck down. Every ally is going to be freaking out over the safety of communications with the U.S. Yeah, it's we're not getting invited to the group chats. Congressman announces motion to investigate what Hegseth was doing and if he was intoxicated. He wasn't the one who made the group chat, though, right? Still pretty funny. They need to drug test Elon. My ketamine king. Now, does this hurt our trust with our allies even more? Oh God, yes. What kind of idiot would share intel with the United States as things are right now? Good Lord. Enter that segment to the chapters feature, calling it group chat leaked. Very good, very good. You see this? The Nazi guy trying to mog the Hasidic Jews by like wearing a military outfit and walking by them, but he just looked really dorky. You mean like every neo-Nazi ever? I guess like it just seems really silly in person because all those Jewish question conspiracies you see online, they really fall into place when you're in real life and you walk by any like Hasidic or Orthodox Jews. And I say this with respect, kind of. I don't really respect religion, but they look really fucking dorky. And it's like, yeah, man, that's the grand conspiracy. You can go to a synagogue. They're probably going to be friendlier to you than folks at a church. You know, there's not a lot. Well, I'm not gonna say there's not a lot going on there. It's just it's mostly like old guys being friendly, and they make jokes. They love their jokes. So when you're trying to like Giga Chad Alpha Mog, you know, Patrick Bateman style, some dumpy looking Hasidic Jews, it's like, what the fuck are you doing, man? They aren't as adamant about convert. They don't convert others at all. Extremely shallow take, but okay. What the fuck? Are you a bot? What the fuck are you talking about? Extremely shallow take. What? Nazis look silly when they try to mew around Jews in public? What are you talking about? You're insane. You're a bot. Oof, not sure about this one, King. What is mewing? I can't be your only connection to the outside world. You have to find other ways of learning about stuff going on, okay? I can't, not every term can be followed by an explanation. This coffee is shit. I don't know if I like the Trader Joe's little Keurig cups. Cool mug, though? Oh, thank you. Don't normally wear oversized jackets while I'm on stream because the shoulders go out so far, but I think it still finds, it still fits okay in frame. Doesn't make me look like a blob man. Oh, this is new. FBI launches Tesla Threats Task Force. That's great. Shadow president using the federal police to specifically defend his car company. I think the big threat to Tesla's share price isn't the vandalizing of the cars, it's the ridicule and mockery. So what these FBI agents need to do, they don't need to go after vandals. Oh, I'm sorry, wait. Terrorists. What they need to do is stand around and farm aura around the Cybertrucks, right? Like they need to wear it with the shades, right? And their arms like this, and they need to, because it's public perception, basically. And then people will think like, holy shit, if I buy a Cybertruck, I get like an FBI security detail. Holy shit. A new task force to investigate attacks targeting Tesla, the electric vehicle company headed by Trump administration, Doge chief Elon Musk. You really have to reflect on the terrifying amount of power that Elon Musk must have for this to have been okayed. Like, he literally, like, how much influence does he have? Where the FBI is like, okay, sure, we'll have a special task force specifically for this. I thought this was upside down for a second. They thoroughly torched the top of this. And send violators down to El Salvador? Oh God, yes, absolutely. You think you're getting a trial if you get arrested for this? Pam Bondi is on Fox News right now threatening Jasmine Crockett. Let me guess. Over Elon?
Aren't there laws against making terroristic threats?
Yep.
Sean, it's interesting that these people wrap themselves in the First Amendment, but they hate Elon Musk because...
It's ridiculous. These people, they believe in the Constitution, but they hate Elon Musk? I don't...
He's practicing the First Amendment. And, you know, their words, but again...
That's true. That's true. Man, I'm either very happy or very unhappy that I got into the career that I did, because every low IQ argument I saw being used by halfwits online is now just like the main argument. I know that's always been how it works with Trump, but I don't, like, with the first Trump administration, Trump would do or say something retarded, and then one of his handlers would show up on TV and go, well, that was actually a masterstroke because of X and Y, and they would, like, articulate an argument for it, you know? And now, if, like, it's everyone is retarded, and no one's around to launder their position. They just openly are like, well, it should be illegal to cancel Elon Musk. And the First Amendment doesn't protect you from government punishment for when you attack Elon Musk. in a terroristic way, like insulting him or alleging that he's a ketamine addict. And it's like, what the fuck do you do with this, man?
Words have consequences. And
Yeah. Yeah, it's like that. It's like that, basically.
she does need to tread very carefully. We don't know what else she's saying, what else she's doing, but she needs to immediately apologize.
That's a nice First Amendment you've got there. Would be a shame if something happened to it, said Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, the highest prosecutorial authority in the United States.
And denounce this because even in her home state, violence is happening after.
Apologize. The fact that she said apologize makes me think that Elon put her up to this. Because if it was just her office, like, coldly exercising the authority she has, doesn't that come across kind of bitch-made? Like, if you're, again, the Attorney General, Secretary of the Department of Justice, I mean, like, you're so strong, you're so powerful, and then you go on Fox News and you're like, you need to say sorry to Elon. I think if she was acting under her own auspices, she would be like, I don't know, it would sound less bitch made, basically. I think he put her up to this. It is crazy how much he gets away with. We're gonna get so many books about this after it's all over.
She made these statements. It's dangerous. Yeah. She has to know it's dangerous, and she's calling for further insurrection on her birthday this weekend.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, 80% of our federal budget will now go to protecting Cybertrucks, basically. It's great. FBI Director Kash Patel says the FBI has been investigating the increase in violent activity towards Tesla, and over the last few days, we've taken additional steps to crack down on and coordinate a response. This is domestic terrorism. Those responsible will be pursued, caught, and brought to justice. That words had meaning, man. You know, they say a person with a penis can't be a woman, but spray painting a car is domestic terrorism. Make it make sense. Serial killers and actual domestic terrorists are going to be eating good these next few years. I'm going to be real with you guys for a second. The main thing that I'm worried about, and I think that you guys should be worried about as well, is they have created an environment that is so ripe for false flagging and false reporting. Exactly the same as what happened with the, you know, the Schutzstaffel, the Gestapo, or the secret police in Soviet Russia, right? Where as soon as you don't like your neighbor, you know, you can, like, you can take a piss on your own Cybertruck and go, hey, my neighbor did this. And then, depending on how inflamed the political situation is, you know, you can potentially get people in a lot of trouble. I mean, we're basically, like, already in a situation where if you are an immigrant, even if you have a green card, you're liable to be fucking yoinked over to El Salvador if you get arrested for something. People are going to be, like, you know, keying their own cars and pointing at, like, a green card holding Colombian resident or something like that, saying he did it. Suddenly my chud neighbors seem to be part of Tren de Aragua. Me getting a Cybertruck exclusively so I can bait chuds into arguing with me in range of its side cameras, so that when like every altercation I can use as, like, evidence against them. Dan Bongino tweeted, "Justice is coming." If you read the news, it feels like, you know, Armageddon, Elon Musk Elon Musk told employees. The CEO said that anyone burning Tesla vehicles was, quote, psycho and should, quote, stop being psycho. He's so smart. Did you guys see the end of the cabinet meeting that was held today where you can hear Elon Musk in the background complaining about getting death threats? He sounds like such a little bitch. It's so funny.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
Just trying to do the right thing for the American taxpayer and for the American people.
All right, Andy. He's saying essentially like, I'm getting death threats and all I'm doing is trying to save money for the American taxpayer, something like that. Me when the tweet doesn't hit. Me when chat didn't appreciate the edgy race joke. Ah! I'm just trying to get them. I'm just trying to bring joy into their lives. Why are they going after me? Have we already made fun of his weird spoon thing? Yes. Jeez, man. Oh, I have to show it off really quick because I haven't worn either piece on stream. This is the 18 East denim work jacket, which I think is really nice. And the Left Field NYC double knee carpenter pants in frog camo. Isn't that cute? I think that's a delightful because I don't normally like camo because it comes across as there's like a certain type of person who wears camo in a not a very fashion forward way, but frog camo is like so goofy. You know, it was the first camo pattern that we ever used. It was commissioned during World War II in like 1943. Because you know how back in like World War I, World War II, all of our GIs just had green uniforms, right? Like they didn't have camo the way we talk about it. This was like the first attempt. The first attempt to like, well, what if we tried using blocks of colors to make it kind of look like you're disappearing into the bush, you know? I think it's cool. The first camo was wearing bright red and blue and white uniforms and reloading while standing up. Yeah, okay. Well, can you imagine how stupid everyone would have looked if you were, like, wearing, you know, a ghillie suit and trying to navigate in squads of 8 through, like, dense forest brush, only to pop out and surprise your enemy by firing exactly 8 shots at them, all of which missed, and then you have to either spend 2 minutes reloading while they're 150 feet away or charge at them and do the bayonet fucking lance while they fire their 8 shots into you. There's a reason why people just wore red and blue back then. Nowadays, you can kill someone so quickly if you're even a little bit close to them that it's like, yeah, hiding matters a lot more. But back then, people were in rank and file for a reason. It was a lot more important to keep people together, you know, discipline-wise. You know, a lot of those soldiers, like, the real worry wasn't do they get hit or not. It was them breaking rank and running, like during the Napoleonic Wars. Because you get all of these conscripted soldiers together and you throw them a uniform and you throw them a gun. And it's like, why wouldn't they just take off into the forest where life is way better? They could just go to any village and disappear. Well, you keep everyone in a nice regiment. It's really difficult for anyone to break rank, you know? Anyway. We're going back to those tactics under Hegseth. I would support that. Don't you think that would even things out, like, way better? Like, if we invaded Iran, but rather than doing all this modern gay bullshit with, like, you you know, drones and nuclear weapons and stuff. What if instead we just marched like 100,000 guys, like double file on a like winding mountain road or like in a valley or something? And we'd have guys up front, like riding horses, who'd be looking around and going like, I think we're in the clear. And then you'd see like somebody silhouetted against the setting sun in the background. They'd be like, fuck, they spotted us. And then like the Persian militia would pop up from around the surrounding mountains and fire down into the valley, and people be going like, ah, ah, ah. And that would be like, it would be like a disaster, and like 40,000 men would lose their lives. But it would be more interesting than the drone bullshit, basically. You get me. It was a simpler time. I can't answer that, Doriando.exe. The French almost did something similar in Vietnam. They would bring that back. I don't think I covered this. I think this happened while I was away in New York City, and when I got back, you know, I did like 20 segments. This just wasn't one of the 20. Elon Musk, despite being a nobody, you know, on paper at least, kind of, he got let in on secret China war briefing plans, which is, it's funny to bring Elon in because my understanding is that he relies pretty heavily on China for his parts manufacturing, requisition, sales. I don't think he benefits from an invasion of China. I think he just wanted to be there, you know. Anyway, it got leaked because, as it turns out, it's actually really crazy to have, like, the world's stupidest billionaire present in the room while you discuss top secret plans to potentially invade the world's largest nation, basically. So yeah, no, it's pretty wild. Oh, and now, of course, he's threatening the leakers. They will be found, warns U.S. President Donald Trump's billionaire advisor. Shadow president is a lot shorter. They just need to settle on shadow president. They will be found. I don't know if they will. I don't think these guys are that competent. According to anonymous American officials, the Pentagon planned to brief Musk on Friday about the U.S. military's plan for any war that might break out with China. After the story went live, the plan was confirmed by Pentagon officials and Trump, but both denied the session would discuss military plans involving China. Of course. China will not even be mentioned or discussed, Trump wrote in a post on his Truth Social platform. How disgraceful it is that the discredited media can make up such lies. Anyway, the story is completely untrue. I believe him. I believe it, which is why it's so weird that he would get mad about it. Right? Like, why would Elon Musk be like, they will be found, if he wasn't set to be, like, if if the thing that was reported on wasn't real, you being invited to the secret China war briefing, then why are you pissy about it? You're just being a little defensive. If we're with Russia now and they're with China, wouldn't we be with China then? Russia and China don't actually get along, to be clear. They're very much like enemy of our enemy is our friend territory. They haven't been friends since the 70s. They've got an ongoing territorial conflict, a big one. Massive differences in how they handle. I've said this a million times before, but like the Russian oligarchs literally just want to pillage their own country to live as, like, you know, pedophile kings forever. Whereas the Chinese Communist Party does seem interested in actually running a country, you know, unlike our current government, unfortunately. Yeah. So they want to be Trump? Well, Trump and his buddies want to be like the Russian oligarchs, for sure. So Russia's like America? Well, no. Russia did it first and better, so we're getting to be more like them. We should give them the respect they deserve, you know? But China does not like Russia. So it makes sense then that given the fact they're interested more in pillaging than nation building, the Trump administration would like Russia but dislike China. They do sincerely dislike China, by the way. Trump may personally like Xi Jinping, but I do not think they like China broadly. And I think the main reason for, genuinely, I think the main reason for that is because China might not be a democracy, but they are interested in nation building. I know I sound like a 4X player when I say that. I'm sorry, I've never actually played, I don't know, Crusader Kings or whatever. But I really do think that's the reason. I think that Trump's cabinet is made up of a bunch of megalomaniacs, and when they see Russia, they see a pillaged society run by a few dozen horrendous, you know, pedophilic monsters for whom the law does not apply. And when they look at China, let's be real, Chinese officials, high up members of the CCP, they have a lot of power. They also have a lot of responsibility, right? I don't think they like that at all. I think they see in that the same things they don't like about democracy, right? They don't like bureaucracy. They don't like civil management. They don't like having a job. They just want to go to Little St. James all day, every day, right? I think racism is a better explanation than this. It's partly that, but I don't think so. I think that, like, if you take any one of the members of Trump's cabinet at the top level, it's kind of like Trump and trans people, right? Trump will weaponize his movement against trans people if it means benefiting himself and his followers or whatever. Trump personally doesn't give a fuck about trans people, right? Like, you all know, if Trump was, it's like 1997 and Trump's at a party and there's like a trans woman there who's like giving mad head or doing coke, whatever the fuck, whatever they do at these fucking parties, right? He's not going to get morally indignant. He doesn't fucking care. He's there to party, right? He's a New York billionaire real estate mogul. He doesn't care. And he's met with plenty of Chinese people. Sure, but Trump is super racist? Yes, but he's the kind of racist who would work with and get along with the groups of people he was racist against. I know that's crazy to imagine, like in today's world where racism is expressed online primarily in the form of like vice signaling, alt-right, neo-Nazi 17-year-olds who are leagues from losing their virginity. But for most of, I would say, like the past century, there's a lot of people who are casually racist but still kind of get on with their day. And I think that's most people in that position, right? It's kind of difficult to be like a New York City, top of the world, meet with everyone, party with everyone, da-da-da, if you're so racist that it gets in the way of stuff like, you know, having a good time at Little St. James. It is that shallow. So the point I'm trying to get at here, are they racist against Chinese people? Absolutely. But I do think a lot of it is also like a disdain for civil management. The Chinese Communist Party, you know, regardless of how its higher-ups might feel, they have a lot of work to do. And there is a lot of work that goes into the management of that state. The Russian oligarchs don't do shit. The Russian oligarchs push all the real civil administration work, whatever there is, down one peg, and they keep partying. Consistently, this is the case. Like, literally any news you follow on any of those oligarchs, it's always the same with those motherfuckers. The only times they deign to do actual work themselves is when they're stupid enough to get in Putin's close orbit because they want to benefit from him. You know what I mean? I thought Putin still did things. Putin does a lot, but he does it like the way a dictator would. So he doesn't have to do much like paperwork is what I mean. He doesn't have to do much like civil management. He's kind of just sitting on the throne giving orders and like doing Krav Maga for the camera. You know what I mean? Does this make sense? Does it sound like I'm rambling? Would you say the same about Iran? Well, it depends on what half of the government you're talking about, right? The religious half of the government, right? I would say probably is mostly interested in sitting on their thumbs. Based on what I've heard, you know, from everyone from the morality police all the way up to the Ayatollah, it seems like maybe some of them work hard. I don't know. But it seems like for the most part, they're kind of just interested in power and the freedom it brings. There are a lot of legitimate, like, bureaucratic civil administrators in Iran. Iran's a big country. You know, a country like that, it takes some work to run. I'm sure that there are plenty of people in their government who do their jobs, you know, fine, right? Nah, you get me. What about Turkmenistan? I don't know. Would you say it's also because China isn't interested in spreading fascism around the world like Russia? Well, that's really complicated. It does kind of seem like China isn't interested in fascistic political thought as a first principle. Rather, it's something they lean into as a way of stabilizing an otherwise neoliberal framework. Economically speaking, I mean. So when you have like the Dengist boom economically, right? And everyone benefits. Not everyone, but a lot of people benefit. But then when you have the birth rates, they stagnate. You have the economic boom, it stagnates. You have the age balloon starting to move up into retirement. People are getting more nervous. COVID happens, and the Chinese government starts to lean more into like openly fascistic stuff, warmongering, surveillance state over the Uyghur Muslims. But it is true that the Chinese don't export fascism in the same way Russia does. Nobody exports fascism the same way Russia does. So yeah, different national strategies. People don't think of China as neoliberal, even though it was the poster child. Yeah, no, literally, and it's one of the big successes of neoliberalism when compared to what China was before. But China is undeniably neoliberal economically. The government is fascist politically, and I think they're doing that. I mean, you've heard it from me before, right? Like fascism is capitalism in decay. They're running into these demographic issues, these economic issues. How do you stabilize a society when the legitimacy of your government is predicated largely on your ability to improve people's quality of life, and that ability is diminishing? The Chinese Communist Party for decades now has been running up against this wall. They were able to get hundreds of millions of Chinese people up to, like, hey, pretty, like, middle class, you know? They brought them up. What do you do now? Well, now people are getting antsy. People aren't having as many kids. That boom, when you go from the farms to the factories, I mean, it's like you're starting to slow down a little bit. What happens now? Well, now you start warmongering about Taiwan. Not that they haven't been doing that before, but obviously with the South China Sea and the island hopping they've been doing, like, it's been ramping up. You get me. Okay, not to be soy, but you can't call everything you don't like fascist. First of all, yes, I can. Second of all, what am I wrong on? Don't challenge me in whether or not the things I call fascist are in fact fascist off, because that's a battle I've been winning for a long time. Frankly, I have a strong record on this one, okay? You just shoulder checked the motherfucker in public and he turned around. You're looking at Mike Tyson, okay? Do you really want to escalate this? No, I'm kidding. I'm slightly weaker than Mike Tyson is on this issue if you scale it out proportionally. You mean Jake Paul? Fuck, you're right. There's always a bigger fish, huh? You get me. If fascism is exclusively equal to capitalism and decay, then what was their form of government in the 70s when they became more capitalist? Well, the real boom in private enterprise in China was with Dengism, right? Like, that really kicked off in the 90s. I mean, during the 1970s, that wasn't really capitalist. That was like that was like that was a continuation of the Maoist, like you know, Great Leap Forward-esque decision making. I mean, there was still very, like, centrally dictated, as much as you can with a country that large. And then you had the famine. Ugh. Mao only died in 76. What's that quote? If Mao died in the 50s, he would be thought of globally as a hero for all time. If he died in the 60s, he would be thought of as a mixed figure, a hero, but complicated. But alas, he died in the 70s. What more is there to be said? Something like that. What is Vietnam? Vietnam's capitalist. There are no socialist countries. God willing, one day. One day. Except Cuba? No, not except Cuba. One day. Can I ask, why do you think China's fascist? Because they're a ultra palingenic, is that the right term? Am I blanking on that term? Ultra palingenic ethno-state. They're Han supremacists, they're expansionists, they're militaristic, they venerate machismo and masculinity and like authoritarian chauvinist rule as a way of palingenetic. Thank you. Palingenetic ultranationalism. Thank you. Thank you. That's the term. It's a very good term. It's very pointed. I mean, like, there's, depending on what, like, metrics of analysis you employ, you know, there's a bunch of ways at arriving at the same endpoint, but no, they are. Keep in mind, fascism is a political system, not an economic one, right? Fascist countries are overwhelmingly capitalist. Their form of capitalism is neoliberal. That's the attitude they take towards it, though it's, you know, neoliberal with Chinese characteristics. These terms are broad. They're meant more to describe general tendencies than like hyper-specific, you know, like attributes, right? The world's a complicated place. What's the rebirth they're going for? Have you seen Chinese propaganda from the past, like, 10 years or so? They've been fully, like, I know we get isolated from it a little bit on the other side of the Great Firewall, but, like, the Chinese Communist Party has really been leaning into the, like, we glorious Han Chinese and our empire of 4 millennia we are free of the century of humiliation. We are free of the boot of the colonizer, of the Westerner, of the European. We now form stronger than ever, a greater society. We are the forebears of the emperors in the past, you know, the forbidden city, etc., etc. They really lean in on it. I mean, they do the same shit Mussolini did with Italy and Rome, you know? They not to the same extent, but listen, not everyone can be Mussolini, okay? Was fascism always a dirty word, politically speaking? Did movements ever call themselves fascist? Fascism wasn't really conceptualized the same way that, say, communism was, where you get some big brain, big beard individuals to sit down and, like, you know, write out a theory people believed in. It was more a descriptor of a state. Mussolini actively argued for it, but for the most part, fascist governments tend not to really self-refer as fascist. I mean, fascists are almost always deliberately dishonest, right? So lying kind of comes with that. Do you think fascist leadership can work well in certain cultures? What the fuck are you on about? What do you mean certain cultures? What do you mean? Work well? Fascism's bad. What are you talking about? It's like asking if slavery works well in some cultures. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you can build a pyramid or two. It's bad. Shouldn't do it. Pyramids weren't actually built by slaves. It's a misconception. Yeah, I preempted you, motherfuckers. Who built the pyramids? Really talented masons? It's a lot of work. You have to do math to, like, get the rocks up the ramp. Weren't those Masons enslaved for the pharaohs? No. It's kind of difficult to have people who are both slaves and highly educated Masons, you know, stoneworkers. It's difficult to get, like, to do both of those, you know? I mean, if you want to talk about, like, effectively slave laborers on ancient works, Great Wall of China, that's a big one. Probably because there was so much of it, you know? I don't think they were slaves. I think they were just, like, one step above it. I'm not really sure. Panama Canal? I mean, I guess that's like all massive ancient monuments. Yeah, people die all the time when you make big things. I'm also pretty sure slave plus is serf. Yeah, but there is a difference between being a serf and a slave. I mean, depending on where you're a slave, it's complicated. It's complicated. Because slavery then wasn't like chattel slavery after the transatlantic slave trade, because those slaves got treated worse than anyone, basically. Slavery's bad, is what I'm getting at, I guess, mostly. You know, that's like the, I guess, and you can crucify me if you want for that hot take, but I believe it. Given what the Irish went through in indentured servants, they might as well have been slaves. It's not actually true. This is one of those contrarian takes people like to hit on, and I think a lot of people think it's like a solidarity thing, where they're like, yeah, black people were slaves, but also the Irish too, so like, we're all kind of victims, and it's like, well, you are victims, but huge difference, right? Huge difference in severity there, you know? Like, indentured servants were treated a lot better than slaves. Indentured servants had legal rights. They had protection from the law to some degree. They were basically just treated like your shit-ass indentured employees, and, you know, ones with a debt contract. You could do anything to slaves, and you own their kids too. The truth, honestly, is that right now in the world today, there's still probably no equivalent to chattel slavery. Like, all around the world today, there's nothing even remotely close to the transatlantic slave trade in terms of how people are treated at scale. It, like, the degree of suffering. Everyone's here to be contrarian, but I'm accounting for all of this. I mean, I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to do prison labor. Get over yourself. You fucking kidding me? I'd rather spend 1,000 years as a prison laborer than a fucking day as a chattel slave working in the sugar plantation in Brazil or something. Holy shit. No, it's again, like, it's really one of those things where, and they sanitize the fuck out of it for American history books, probably for everyone's, I guess. I don't know why they'd be teaching that shit over in, like, Germany, I guess, because they didn't do the transatlantic slave trade. They did other stuff. But you know, the just really, really bad. Germany actually did as well. The transatlantic slave trade. Look, I'm not here to defend Germans. I just don't think they did that. I mean, maybe some German people did. I don't think the nation of Germany. You know what? The nation of Germany didn't even exist when America was formed. They were still, I don't know, the Holy Roman Empire or something. Maybe, I don't know. Historians haven't figured it out yet. Russia? Yeah, whatever. The Germans did straight up genocide in Namibia. Yeah, you're very woke. Thank you. Everyone with the contrarian take. Roots? I've heard about Roots. I haven't seen it though. I don't want to watch something about the transatlantic slave trade, man. It's depressing. Sorry, I know I'm a pussy, but like Jesus. Yeesh. Can you do Klarna donations? I'd partner with them. Vikings were actually bad, just not as bad as the rest of Europe. Well, Vikings took slaves, but again, there's just such an enormous difference in like in the severity and scale. Like the transatlantic slave trade was basically like, you know, like you look at historical death counts from like World War I or whatever. Why was the Holocaust as bad as it was? Well, a lot of it is like the industrial slaughter. The transatlantic slave trade was kind of that, right? It's like on one hand you have the misery and death of war, famine, etc., and then you have these like, what if we deliberately build a system to maximize human suffering? What if we built the torment nexus? And you know, not to be woke, but like slavery was fucked up, man. You said it. You said it. And people don't want to hear it. People do not want to hear that. That's too much for them. They haven't reached that level of enlightenment yet. Me, parentheses, 6 feet tall, slavery was so fucked up, man. Yes! You're gonna get mad pussy in college with lines like that. Reminder, Brazil had way more slaves. Yeah, the transatlantic slave trade was even worse. Well, I don't want to compare two bad bitches, etc., etc. But yeah, no, the systems they had set up in the Caribbean and in Latin America, monstrously bad, you know? Also, it was like the same guys doing all of it, right? Like Brazil, that was Portugal. You know, like we talk about Spain, right? You know, Columbus, whatever. That Portugal's right next to Spain. It's the same guys doing all this, right? How Portugal fall off so hard. Honestly, it seems like Portugal and Spain are both like, they kind of lost the colonial war, right? Because you look like France still controls, or at least has influence over, a lot of Francophone Africa, you know, like the West. Like all of Latin America, it seems like they've, apart from the language, Spanish and Portuguese, they have like thrown the cloak off and they're just doing their own thing now. Even the like castizos or whatever across all of Latin America are still not Spanish or Portuguese, even though they pretend to be. I don't know. Spain and Portugal never really invested any of the wealth from their empires into the people. They basically just had like the biggest pile of gold possible in the castle, while the rest of their lands were desperately poor. For a long time, Spain was literally like a king and a navy and a bunch of incredibly poor serfs. Like they didn't like invest into anything. They just bought the navy. That's a massively ignorant thing to say. I love it when people say that without, like, anything else. No, you always know a motherfucker has a good point when they're like, I think you're really bad for saying that, but they don't say what they think I said wrong. That's how you know somebody's got a really good point. Spain invested in educational institutions, built roads, built infrastructure, cooperated with native polities. What? I'm talking about the deprivation within Spain, the country of Spain. Like, for a significant portion during what we would call, I suppose, the medieval period, they didn't build into... Wait, are you native? Are you saying what they did over in Latin America? A conquistador revisionist? The conquistadors actually wanted to get along with the Aztecs? The crazy thing is, like, you could you know how there are revisionists who will say, like, actually the British Empire did good in India? Nobody can say that about the Spanish in Mexico because they did nothing. Like, literally, they just showed up and everything got worse. Like, you can't even begin to make an argument for, like, well, they built trains. And that's not legitimate with the Indians either. But, like, holy shit, you can't... It's so invalid there. What a total lie. Wrong. That's actually insane. Thank God I'm not a debate bro anymore. Here, take 5 days. It was actually 7. But that should be a perma. Defending the Spanish occupation of Latin America is basically like Hitler tier shit. Like, unironically, if you, I'm not saying again, bad bitches, etc. But your control, you know, if you start like leveling out the death tolls, it's pretty damn bad. Yeah, it was like one of the worst things ever, basically. You don't do debates anymore? I just did one. I won it by right-clicking and hitting the button that said 7 days. Undefeated. The colonizers are still held in high esteem in Mexico? Yeah, maybe by their direct descendants who are still pale. What the fuck are you talking about? You think that the indigenous people of, like, Colombia or Bolivia think highly of the Spanish? As a Mexican, I confirm only the Nazis like the Spanish. Yeah, because they're all Nick Fuentes types. All the most active white supremacists online are, like, kind of white Spaniards. Or not Spaniards, I should say wannabe Spaniards living in Latin America, or, like, Indians who are not even close to being white. It's pretty pathetic, but they sympathize more with... They see themselves as the conquistadors. The death count was bad, but wasn't a lot of it from disease? Yeah, but a lot of it was also from, like, the death farms they built. Like, the transatlantic slave trade, again, a lot of them went down there, you know? They killed, like, millions of people directly through forced labor. Like, again, we're really talking... It's, like, one of the great crimes out there. It's one of the all-time greats. I live in a heavily Latino area of a border state. No one likes the conquistadors here except the pastiest Spanish descendants that make my Norse descended ass look tanned. Yeah. It's those they live in Mexico or whatever, or Colombia or some, you know, Bolivia or whatever, and they They're very racist against brown and black people, and they think like, oh, I'm the descendant of the greats, like I'm the descendant of the glorious European Spanish conquistadors. I'm just like him. He's literally me. And they post like Crusader Wojaks on social media. Literally, that's it. That's white supremacy in Latin. People say like racial politics is complicated in Latin America. That's only from the American perspective, where we see all of them as like Mexican or whatever. Whereas in reality, it's kind of the same as it ever was, where like pasty white people, you know, or the wealthier ones, not all white people, obviously, but, you know, there's a caste of them, and they sympathize more with the previous colonizers. Lost them also died being cramped in the ship. Yep, it fucking sucked. How do we get on the slavery is bad topic? I'm looking at this image now, and it's reminding me it's kind of a grim topic. Anyone want to be stuck on this for, what, 6 weeks? How long does it take to get across the Atlantic? I don't fucking know. I hate this image so much. Yeah, it probably sucked even more being there, but I haven't been there, so I couldn't say. 3 to 6 months to make the journey? 6 to 8 weeks? Let's just say 5 years. Why not? Like half of them will die before they get there? Yeah, that's food for the living ones. Come on, don't say that. Wait, that's literally what happened. It's literally like the most suffering imaginable. It's just the like every evil thing you could think of, they did that. There's like no holds on it, you know? Meanwhile, there are still, you know, people 6 shades darker than me who pretend to be descendants of the conquistadors posting on social media that the conquistadors were actually like liberating the tribes of modern day Mexico or whatever. And it's like, why, how, in what way? What do they do? They like killed some people, brought down Tenochtitlan, and killed like a bajillion people in the slave trade. I don't know. Anyway, let's get off this fucking topic. It was supposed to be beautiful, Tenochtitlan. Yeah. We only have paintings. Well, I hope you guys don't live in rural areas that don't get easily accessed by FedEx or UPS, because USPS is not looking good. Louis DeJoy, the head postman who was appointed by Trump in his first term, but isn't crazy enough for Trump in his second term, is out. Presumably, he's been bullied out. This was expected. Louis DeJoy is more of a first-term Trump official kind of guy. You know, like he's a right-wing austerity nut who is deliberately incompetent, but he's not like an absolute lunatic. So we have to fix that. Is there a reason Biden didn't get rid of him? Presumably because Biden's a massive pussy. Oh, he's fine. Yeah, he's a ghoul, but he's not a psychopath. So now we need someone who is both a ghoul and a psychopath. Deputy Postmaster General Doug Tolino is set to head the USPS until their governing board names a successor. That's great. Last month, he asked the USPS Board of Governors in a letter to start a search for a new Postmaster General. DeJoy's exit comes after he agreed this month to allow the Doge team of Elon Musk to help find further efficiencies at USPS. Great. So my interpretation on this, and I think this is like pretty inarguable, I feel like everyone agrees, is that he is a ghoul and he is checking out. He's doing the goodnight y'all Like, he sees what's going on, he sees the writing on the wall, and he's like, well, it's been fun. Been here for a while. I'm not getting involved in this, whatever. Yep, Elon, come on in, do whatever you want. Goodbye. And honestly, can't blame him. I would do the exact same thing if I was in his position. It's not like anyone can stand up to Elon. He doesn't want to be involved in this. He might even know how to do some paperwork. He doesn't want to be a part of this. So yeah, they're probably going to privatize, or at least lean into privatizing USPS. We've talked before about how essential the USPS is, how much FedEx and UPS rely on them for like last mile delivery, especially in areas where FedEx and UPS can't reliably get there. The fact that USPS is like a profitable organization, were it not for the fact that they have to pay forward the retirement funds of all their employees by like, what, 20 years or something? Which they're the only organization that's forced to do that. And the only reason they were forced to do that by Congress is so Republicans could say that they're not financially solvent. Like, they literally, in order to make USPS look broke, they put in place rules that no other organization is forced to follow to arbitrarily make it broke. It would be like someone coming up to you and saying, oh, wow, you've got some money in the bank account, you're solvent, you're making more money every month than you're spending. Okay, well, now we're going to make you pay your rent and utilities 80 years forward. Not looking so financially solvent now, huh? Give me 80 years of rent up front. Okay. Even saddled with that, they made it work. Yeah, no, in spite of that, the USPS has actually been trucking along decently well, which is incredibly impressive. Like, it's a remarkably efficient organization. You know, the U.S. Postal Service is a miracle org. And Republicans have wanted to gut it for a long time. And they have been waiting for, like, total insolvency as an excuse to do so. And because that's not coming, they're just going to gut it anyway. I mean, it's not like Trump needs an excuse, right? Like, you can just go right for it. I've said this before, and I'll keep saying it. It's so important, okay? You have to argue in favor of everything you love as much as they argue against it. You can't get complacent. The USPS is a good service, genuinely a remarkable. It's one of the few elements of the federal government that you can almost like completely and unambiguously argue it's just like a net good. We're not dealing with the complications of, I don't know, the Veterans Department or of, you know, Medicaid, Medicare, the inefficiencies, the fact that they kowtow to the insurance companies, whatever. USPS does a good job. And when something does a good job, you have to be an active advocate for it. You have to champion it because other people will want to ruin it. Their new trucks are so cool too. Yeah. Why do Republicans want to get rid of USPS? So that they can rely on, so they can privatize it. So they can fold another element of the federal government into a for-profit system. This is not a Trump thing. They've been wanting to do this for decades. This is since, at least since Reagan, they have been wanting to do this. Like, at minimum since Reagan. Probably before. Unfortunately, that does mean we're probably not going to see that much of the beautiful new USPS trucks, which I have seen before, which I've shown on stream before, which are beautiful. Perfect. You can stand up, you can walk in and out of them easily. They're good ergonomically if you're in them all day. They have a huge amount of visibility. You're not going to hit any kids running around the neighborhood. If you do hit a kid, they go over the bumper, not underneath it, because the bumper's so low. It's a beautiful, wonderful vehicle. It looks like the future. It looks like the future. It looks like look at that. It's beautiful. It's peak engineering. It has AC. Ugly, but amazing. It's not ugly. It's not ugly. This isn't a compromise. This is a friendly cartoon truck, and that is what the USPS is. This is not a military vehicle. It looks like a cartoon car, and that's exactly what it should be. It's not fake. like the Cybertruck, you know, a desperate effort to capture an aesthetic, hiding underneath it a subpar vehicle. This is an excellent vehicle, perfectly tailored to its environment. This is what beauty is. This is why you wear the clothes you wear. All the clothes you wear now were originally purpose-built for a specific work, military, whatever environment. And there was beauty in their functionality. And since then, they've been incorporated. Their legitimacy is predicated on the historical authenticity of the garment. Even if you don't know how to recognize it, that's why it's there. That's why it's like that. Menswear, at least. Women, I don't know. Women wear, like, doilies or something. I don't give a shit about women's wear. Anyway, what I'm getting at is that this truck is beautiful. Women do be shopping. That's like the main thing that I know about them. Oh, yeah. Filling me with joy, compliment to the USPS. I was so proud of that job. You should be. If you should, and I mean this, guys, if you live in the United States, be friendly to your local postman. Every single day, there is a USPS employee in, like, blue shorts or whatever who goes up to your mailbox. You should be nice to them. They work their asses off. Yeah, wave high. They've probably been on your block, on your route for years, maybe decades. It's a very honorable job. More honorable than damn near any other job you can get, to be honest. My USPS mailman is MAGA. Well, then I've got good news. He's probably going to lose his job soon anyway. Yeah, the Amtrak CEO is also pulled a good night, y'all. Amid threats of a transit funding pullback. Well, Amtrak fucking sucks anyway, so. Sorry, I shouldn't talk about it that way. You have to defend the things you love. I do love the USPS. I don't love Amtrak. It sucks. But, you know, whatever. Why not? Because it sucks. What's wrong with it? It sucks on, like, every level. So I'm sorry. I know. I apologize. I've been to Tokyo, Barcelona, and now New York City, so I had brief opportunities to experience a non-subpar train network, and now, like, there's no getting around it. I'm sorry. Overpriced, poor coverage, poor service, tardy, poor rail network, poor, like, just everything's bad. But they can make it better. Can you explain for a non-American? Just imagine everything that could be bad about a train network, and it's this. It's literally everything. Is it too expensive? Yes. Is it too slow? Yes. Is it unreliable? Yes. Is there not enough coverage? Yes. Are the trains too infrequent? Yes. Like, literally on, like, every metric by which a train can be bad, it's bad. So, like, they're unclean. I've been on Amtrak. You know, they're unclean. They're weird. They don't feel good. Smells like shit. What are your thoughts on BART? I haven't been on BART. It sucks because of a lack of funding. It sucks for a lot of reasons. And don't get me wrong, it's not going to get better under Trump. BART, Bay Area Rapid Transit. It's like San Francisco, Oakland, that kind of stuff. I mean, literally, if you Google right now, Amtrak news, and I know that because that's what I Googled to find this article referring to this event, 4 hours ago, Amtrak service in and out of Boston partially restored after overhead wires catch fire. That's 4 hours ago. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Ed Maria, Amtrak just posted an update saying that some train service has been restored. And you might be able to hear it right now. There's a train coming through as we speak. I'll step out of the way. You can see this is an Amtrak train here on the main line. If you take a look up above, you can see the catenary, and that's what's powering this train. Now, this is on the inbound side of the tracks heading into Boston. We're at the Hyde Park.
You can kind of see it sucks just by looking at it. It's just bad rail infrastructure in pretty much every part of the country except for a few key locations. Obviously, there's New York. I hear BART is good. The Seattle light rail is both pretty okay and also rapidly expanding. I'll give credit. The Seattle light rail in the important parts during most of the day, trains come every 15 minutes both ways, takes you to most of the important parts of the city. Not enough coverage going near the Capitol Hill area, going up past the Channel. Could be better going into Bellevue, going down to Tacoma, but they're still pretty workable. Yeah, but that's light rail. That's a metro, not a regional rail. Yeah. It's not the same. I mean, it does take you, cross city, but yeah, still.
Station. Now, as this train clears in just about 5 seconds, you'll be able to see now there's wires hanging down there above the middle tracks. That was the issue here a little bit earlier. Those tracks are not in use right now, and we'll show you that video again. This was just taken a little while ago. A passenger on a commuter rail train sharing this video with a firefighter here on the scene, which shows at least some of that arcing that neighbors...
Oh, that's probably not good. Oh yeah, here's the Amtrak service map as of 2013. Again, people love to cope and they'll say shit like, well, America's a big country, so there's no way you can get a consistent train network. And then you take a look at the rail network of Europe, which is about the same size, like Western, Central Europe combined are about the same size as the continental United States. And then it's like, oh, wait, better things are possible. Wait, hold on a second. It turns out we just suck, actually. And there are major problems with high-speed rail in Europe. Keep in mind this Amtrak system is not high-speed rail. Like, you want to get from one place to another, that can be multiple days. It's not high-speed rail. It's standard-ass rail. What is that, below 60, like, was it 64 or below? What speeds are we talking about here? 2 miles per hour, yeah. They go like 70 miles an hour. That's the maximum, often below it. Here's the European high-speed rail network. So this isn't even so everything here is faster than anything here. You might notice there's a slight difference in the coverage. I mean, you want to go most places in Europe, you're probably going to find a train link to it. All around, too. Look at that, man. All the way down to Turkey. All over Turkey. Into Russia. Though you'd have to do a grade crossing at multiple points. But, whatever. Oh, the grade lines are not high speed. But these gray lines are still... Okay, the threshold for high speed is 125 miles per hour. So the slowest type of line that's being graded on this, 125 miles per hour, is nearly double the maximum speed that any train system basically in the United States goes. Like the degree to which we're being mogged is unimaginable. So that's pretty cool, I guess. How good are train systems locally as opposed to long distance? Well, high-speed rail is for long distance travel. You usually use like light rails, metro systems, or like local transit locally. It's supposed to be like multi-tiered. You have multiple options going anywhere, Don't we have a pretty good freight network? Kind of. Depends on what part of the country you're in. But that's only for freight, not for passenger rail. Sorry, I'm like despairing looking at this. There's China's railway maps. Yeah, and the fucked up thing is that they built all of these in like the past 30 years. Not all of them, but a lot of them. It's not even a joke. It's like so much of their high-speed rail. This is just railway. I don't know if it's all high-speed. I'm not that much of a student of the 21st century, but yeah, the freight train lines got cut down pretty severely by truck traffic. Now that most things are brought around by truck. And China's a lot bigger than the US. No, China's about the same size. I think we're actually a smidge bigger. Are trucks more efficient? No, trucks are a lot less efficient, actually. In terms of like energy to move all that freight, what trucks are is faster. Because you don't have to bring the truck cargo to a truck like a shipping yard and unload it and then get stuff moved onto trucks. Instead, you just put the shit on the truck and the truck drives there. Well, anyway. Is high-speed rail clean for the environment? How are they powered? High-speed rails, they're usually powered electrically. They're literally as clean as you can get environmentally. Like, modern tech for high-speed rail is literally the way of the future. Like, you can move millions of pounds of freight or lots and lots of people, and all of it is on an electrified rail or with wires above, whatever. It's really, really good. It's really, really good. And it's all over Europe and it's all over China. It's just us. It's just us. In terms of like wealth and development regionally, we are the laggards. We are the ones who fell behind. Look at how they massacred my boy. Oh. Decline of passenger railway service in the United States. Yeah, look at that. Look at that at the beginning. 1962 is the beginning. Look at that. Notice how the thin white lines are service daily. So for a lot of these routes, there is literally one train per day, both ways. Dashed lines down here, less than daily. There's the American train network for you. Yeah, people don't know how bad it is, man. It's like the only places that get like multiple trains a day, it's over here near Chicago, New York, you know, Baltimore. That's it. Who cares about the train network? Well, I do, because I like civilization, good things. You know, I like good things. I like happiness, joy, people, life. I love pussy, you know. I can't imagine you do. I like delicious food, warm, sunny days, the sound of birds chirping. I don't know what you get off to, personally. What kind of demonic freak shit makes you happy. But yeah, I care about trains and all the other things I talked about. All right. Let me close all this. That was a lot of tabs opened. How are we doing today, folks? In Illinois, trains could go 110 miles per hour now. There's nothing preventing us from having high-speed rail. It's just that legally, high-speed rail needs certain safety precautions. There are certain, you need like certain tracking. I don't, the exact tech, it's like an auto brake tech. I don't know what it is exactly. You need to put a little more money into the high speed rail, and companies just won't do it. But they could do it. A lot of the rail that exists out there, it could get made into high speed rail. Like the rails themselves could be used with a bit of retrofitting, but they just don't want to spend the extra money. They would rather just have everything run along a freight network just as is. Why invest in it? There's no money there, except there is. Freight rail is still very profitable. They just do it along like some very select lines. They don't want to invest in anything that gives them less than like a fucking massive return. I really enjoyed the MTA in New York City. I'm gonna give a bit of leeway to New Yorkers being annoying in the future, because it really was like magnificent being basically anywhere in Manhattan. And I know it's mostly Manhattan and like the western edges of Brooklyn and the Bronx, and Brooklyn and Queens, and the southern bits of the Bronx. You know, I know it's not everything, but when I was walking around Manhattan, being able to just like, you know, you need to get somewhere further, 1 block away. You're 1 block away from the metro. You just go in the metro, doon, doon, doon. Train comes in 2 minutes, kablamo. Just feels great. And Tokyo, too. Tokyo was amazing. 100%, yeah. How much funny shit did you see in the subway? Yeah, I saw a lot of funny shit. I saw clowns, actually. There were 3 of them playing Candy Crush on their phones every time I would go through the exit turnstiles. Did you see the big rat guy? Yeah, I saw him twice. Visit Sydney? I've been to Sydney. No, I have not been to Hong Kong. Snow White was good. I don't believe that. I think you might be a bot. You might be an advertisement bot. You might be one account out of thousands running off a single computer. Okay, there we go. Cleaned up the tabs finally. Going to NYC and returning to my car-dependent hellhole gave me mental illnesses the DSM-5 ain't heard about. Yeah, I genuinely do think that a huge amount of the rightward drift in young people over the past few years has been from the ennui that is best experienced when you do something like travel to a walkable city and then go back to where it's not. You go live in a real city for a week or something, and then you go back to essentially a highway rest stop of a town, like all American towns are, except for like 5 of them. Why would that push people right? Because I think that sense of alienation and despair, and a lot of people don't have the political education to understand why their environments make them so upset. People don't seem to understand. Why are you lonely? Well, a huge reason, like a huge part of the reason why you're lonely is because there's nothing to fucking do in your area. How do you meet people, right? That's why everyone uses dating apps. I live in Seattle, which is pretty good as cities go in America, right? Like, it's certainly not, it's better than LA. It's certainly not, you know, fucking Tacoma. It's not Austin, right? It's not Houston. It's pretty good. There's lots of queers here. Lots of homosexuals to talk to. But even here, like outside of a few specific pockets, you know, a lot of it, you just get that same American style of development. I think there's a reason why people who live in big cities tend to be more liberal. Yeah, no kidding. You got to travel where anything's happening, which gets expensive. Yeah, but it wasn't always like that, though. Like, New York City wasn't always crazy expensive. That's how all the people moved up there to work in the factories and fisheries and stuff. Like, you go back 100 years when New York City was still a very happening place. Like 100 years ago, New York City was still the empire city of the Empire State, but people moved there in flocks. They built, you know, tenements. They built out apartments. A lot of those apartments still stand today. They had a lot of new people coming in. They built a lot of new, and people could afford to live there. Now, obviously, I'm not going to talk about like affordability of housing in 1920 or something. That would be, I'm not comparing apples to oranges like that. The world's a very different place. But the current perception is like, well, you can't live in Manhattan unless you are wealthy. Like the rent there just starts $3,000 for a studio, maybe, depending on where you are. But like, it's not cheap. And these are areas historically, we're talking like, you know, we saw Chinatown plenty last stream, poor immigrant towns or like neighborhoods in New York City, you know? Why the fuck can't people move there? And it's because what New York City is today and was back then, all cities were. The difference is that in Manhattan or whatever, it was large enough that it resisted the worst effects of car culture. Because you go look at those German villages that were built in like the 1600s or something. These are small villages. A few thousand people live there. And they have a robust, thriving urban center. They have an urban core in the middle with the shops and the boulevards and the pavilion and the walkability and the farmers markets and etc. And they've only got a few thousand people there. Go to an American town with 4,000 people. You'd be lucky to find a second restaurant. It's insane. But 4,000 people is a lot. That's a lot of people. How is everything so spread out? 4,000 people. That's crazy. You can pack it all together and have like an actual proper urban environment. We used to have that with American small towns, not anymore. So the reason why New York City is so expensive. Now, the reason why Chicago's rent's going up fast too, even though Chicago, because it's in the Rust Belt, it's had a little bit more of a, you know, decline in the housing price historically, but it's going back up now, is because these are some of the only American towns that weathered the worst of car infrastructure, you know? But cities that mostly built out after that, no shot, no chance. So now everyone wants to live there. But every place in the world could be like that, you know? I don't want a world where everyone has to move over to New York City in order to experience like good transit and walkable neighborhoods. I think you could easily build literally every place on earth like that. Like, no matter how much new housing you build in New York City, eventually you'll run up against a limit. There is a limit to how many people you can fit in an urban space. You can push against that limit, but there is an upper limit, or there's diminishing returns moving towards it. But why should everyone want to move to New York City? Okay, it's got a lot of culture, so build more culture. Build another city. How come Tokyo doesn't have the rising cost problem? They build out a lot, but also their population ain't rising. Japan's population's been stagnating for a while. If Tokyo was experiencing the same population boom that New York City has over the past, you know, such and such decades, they would also start to run ultimately into that wall. There are limits to how much you can build. But you can just build. You can't just build a city? Yeah, you can. We've done it all of human history. That's what you do. That's how you start a city. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day, but Romulus, I mean, they had to put a brick down. At some point, you can just make cities. We've forgotten how to make cities. You can just make a city, you know? You can make a new place beautiful. I mean, you could make a brand new city, a brand new. You can just make it. The death of intercity rail is also what killed city. Yeah, well, bring it back. We have the tech for it. So why don't you? I can't afford to build a city. Donate more. We'll see what happens. In all likelihood, not city building. I'll pay, like, my rent and stuff. Yeah. You finish your taxes? You'll know when I've finished my taxes because I'll do a TTS Metal Gear Solid stream where I'll thank everyone for their donos, but clearly get annoyed at you guys when the text-to-speech talks over the cutscenes. But I won't stop it, and I'll get, like, mad and then get kind of quiet. Classic. Is the Atlantic quality stuff? It's definitely one of the top 2 oceans, I would say. Have you seen the Trump Freedom Cities plans, which are a car hell? Yeah, I've seen them. It is fucked up that the only guy talking about building new cities is Hitler too. Couldn't we just do that? Like normally? Without Hitler too? I don't know. We're never going to have European cities because in America, zoning regulations say that areas are either commercial or residential, and European cities are both all the time. Fuzzy Lollipop, you know what's insanely fucked up? Those zoning regulations are municipal. You can actually build a new city and incorporate it and just not have those rules. You can just not do it. You can literally just choose to not make things bad for no reason. It's crazy that no one's thought of this, but I swear to you, it actually is that simple. Or you can just change the laws in the books already, but, you know. For what it's worth, right now, there is an overwhelming trend across the states towards urbanization. Like, more and more cities are taking down their urban highways. They are pedestrianizing. They are implementing more mixed zoning. Hell, even Los Angeles. Los Angeles, one of the worst cities in the country when it comes to car-centric infrastructure. They have been editing some of their zoning rules and permissions lately. So, you know. That is one of the reasons why it's important to run local. The problem you run into is that all the city councilmen and the mayor, they're all wealthy people who live in the suburbs or the exurbs and drive into town to go to City Hall. Yeah, but that'll take away the forest that everyone loves. How would building more densely take away forest? You know, like, sprawl is what fucks up the environment, right? Like, if you take a gigantic suburban development that expands over like hundreds or thousands of acres, you could condense all of that into something that takes up literally 1/10 of the space. And it would be better to live in for everyone. I'm sorry, Roland Child. Holy shit, I felt like I had to burp for like an hour there. Oh my fucking god. Also, we don't want copy-paste cities. Then you definitely don't want suburbs. Because that, have you ever walked through a suburb? I mean, a real suburb. That shit is depressing. And it's easy to get lost, too. Because everything looks the same. Yeah, it's backroom shit. It's literally just the residential equivalent of the back rooms. You're walking through cubicles. Anyway, speaking of Hitler or something, I don't know. Trump wants green card applicants already legally in the US to hand over social media profiles. So that's terrifying. If you're a legal resident of the United States and you're applying for a green card, the Trump administration wants you to hand over your social media profiles because they want to vet your social media profiles probably to see whether or not you've criticized Israel. It really is that simple. What is this? Oh. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Make a fake burner social media account with no politics on it. Yeah, okay, but it's a green card application. It's not just a one and done stamp. They actually investigate with the green card stuff. So they might still find your actual handle. Why do Republicans keep asking for this shit when they insist they're just checking? Yeah, they really do like upping the Hitler dial, but like in a, oh, we're just doing this for fun, you know, like, oh, we're just little birthday boys, you know? They know how bad this looks. Visa applicants living abroad already have to share their social media handles with U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, but the proposal under President Donald Trump would expand the policy to those already legally in the country who are applying for permanent residency or seeking asylum. USCIS said the vetting of social media accounts is necessary for, quote, the enhanced identity verification, vetting, and national security screening. That last one, most of all, I imagine. The agency also said it was necessary to comply with Trump's executive order titled Protecting the United States from Foreign Terrorists and Other National Security and Public Safety Threats. What if they don't have any profiles? I don't know. Ask them. I fucking love journalism, man. So the U.S. is heading for authoritarian now, an anonymous commentator said. Thank you, independent.co.uk. Fascinating. Really interesting stuff. Talking about a goddamn comment thread. You have to make an X profile as a green card applicant. They might unironically push for that. That's not even a joke. The Trump administration refused to give Judge Boasberg the flight info he asked for. Yeah, I could have told you that. They're not gonna go forward with that. Yeah, I covered that, Districts. So officially worse than Iran? No, not officially worse than Iran. And I doubt you've studied the immigration, you know, requirements and protocols in Iran either, you know? How would you know? You haven't done the research. I'm Iranian, bruh. Fuck! Cyrus the Great? Yeah, I guess I could see that. Well, no, not worse than Iran. Basically North Korea, but bigger? Oh, yeah, no, exactly like it. Are you well, first, wait, before I answer, are you North Korean? You have to tell me if you are. Provide me with your socials. No, it's pretty grim. We're looking to see, I mean, we're going to see a significant drop in the number of people immigrating to the United States, not just through migration, you know, from the southern border or whatever, but like in general, people wanting to live here. And it seems like this is part of a long-term effort, or I should say a long-term strategy to make sure that demographically the United States is filled up with people who are politically agreeable. And in this case, I'm pretty sure that literally just means like Israel. You know, yeah. It's white. Well, they don't need your socials to find out if you're white or not, I guess. Did you cover this from a few days ago? Yeah, I covered this. I think. I'm pretty sure I did. French scientists denied U.S. entry after phone messages critical of Trump found. Yeah, he just got straight up turned away. Literally, there's somebody coming into the United States, wasn't an immigrant. He was just traveling here. And they were like, oh, no, you're anti-Trump. Not allowed. And then he left. Good night. Good night, y'all. It's pretty bad. So petty. Well, it's a little Hitlerite, you know. How did they get access to his phone? They pulled him into a side room and said, give me your phone. I heard Stormbrick Siege. It'll get even worse when Trump weaponizes the IRS to go after immigrants as well. Yes! Finally, the decisive proof that undocumented immigrants do in fact pay taxes. ICE is trying to pull IRS data to help locate undocumented migrants. The brain drain from America is going to be insane. Lyrical, spiritual, individual. Yeah, no, it's going to be pretty bad. There are already scientists leaving. The IRS is close to finalizing an agreement with the DHS to help locate migrants suspected of being in the U.S. illegally, a person familiar with the matter said, as Trump continues his hardline deportation push. The agreement would require Immigration and Customs Enforcement to submit names and addresses of people it suspects of living in the country illegally to the IRS, which the tax agency would then cross-reference and confirm, the person said. The IRS has encouraged undocumented migrants to file taxes, a process that includes providing the agency with their addresses, employers, and earnings. Man, that fucking sucks. There are undocumented immigrants who have been here for decades because they want to get a clean paper trail so that when they apply for citizenship, even after having been here undocumented for so long, they can be like, well, look, this whole time I've been paying my taxes like a good citizen. I've been operating as though I'm a citizen or, you know, at least a legal resident. And now they're about to get bit in the ass for it. Yep, off to El Salvador. You came to America illegally and then settled down, contributed to the economy, had children, those children got an education, those children are citizens, you've paid taxes the entire time, you've objectively been more of a contributor to the economy and to American culture and to our society than many, many, many so-called legal residents. It's time for you to go. Sorry. Time for you to go to a country you've, I don't know, maybe never been to? Who cares? Doesn't matter. We will spend money deporting you rather than save money keeping you because we hate you. Bah. The groups claim a federal law forbids the IRS from giving the state immigration authorities because ICE and DHS aren't listed as exceptions to the confidentiality rules in the tax code. I don't think that'll stop them. Did you read about the Indian scholar who's facing deportation because his wife is Palestinian? No, I haven't even heard about this one. It's like every day with this shit, man. On the evening of the 17th of March, masked federal agents for the DHS surrounded Badar Khan Suri in Rossland, Virginia, just as he returned home from opening his fast. He was told his student visa had been revoked and that he faced imminent deportation. Suri's wife, Mafez Saleh, a Palestinian with American citizenship, watched as the masked agents took him and his passport and drove off. Okay, just... You're here on a student visa. You're a postdoctoral scholar on a student visa? Oh, sorry. 4 literal retards who could not pass a you know, like a 11th grade chemistry test or whatever have shown up to deport you because, like, I don't know, your wife is supposed to be getting genocided in the West Bank right now. In his petition filed in court earlier this week, his lawyers say Suri has become the latest scholar to face threats of removal from the U.S. over claims his views contradicted U.S. foreign policy. Yeah. Yep, seems like the only explanation for it, really. The DHS did not respond directly to questions from Middle East Eye, but instead sent a statement in which it accused Suri of, quote, actively spreading Hamas propaganda and promoting anti-Semitism on social media. Oh, I'm sure, I'm sure. Yeah, yeah, well, you know, it's pretty bad. It's not good. Keep reading. They talk about his daughter as the reason. You know, when I was quiet for like 8 seconds, that was me reading the rest of the article. I know that you probably didn't think that because you projected your cognition onto mine, but I assure you I run at a, let's just say I've got more RAM. I just didn't feel the need to read it out loud. Don't lie. We know you can't read. uh, stupid. Vosh, I think this is a good video on neo-Nazis. What do you think I'm gonna do with that? You think that sounds like that's an incentive? How you've described it? Could they deport U.S. citizens to the Salvadorian Gulag? Trump has explicitly said, yes. I don't think Hillary Clinton is going to successfully weasel her way back into the public light. I think she's just having a gloating moment. Which I guess I would too in her position. I mean, what are you supposed to do, right? She just tweeted like once. She done anything past that? What do you expect? She could shut up forever? Yeah, but like realistically. You see that 2 of the group chat members will be testifying in front of Congress tomorrow? Over the group chat? No, they're just part of the testifying group. I imagine it'll come up, though. Worldwide threats before the Senate Intelligence Committee. Yeah, they'll probably bring that up. Worldwide threats include domestic ones, after all. Seems reasonable. Trump administration invoking state secrets privilege over deportation flight information sought by federal judge. This is reaching like comical levels of inconsistency here. So our government right now is run by a mix of self-serving oligarchs, megalomaniacs, and open neo-Nazis. They suspended habeas corpus and deported a few hundred alleged Tren de Aragua members who we know for a fact, at least a lot of them, are innocent. They've already confirmed it. The DHS has already confirmed that many of these people were charged with no crimes. They were sent to El Salvador, to a gulag, where they were filmed being pulled off the plane. And despite all of this information and external confirmation of people involved and roped up in this, the Trump administration is refusing to even give the names of those who have been deported to the judge. You could see their faces. They've already admitted they didn't commit crimes. The Trump administration refuses to give names, invoking state secrets privilege over the thing they did a video of. Like, they literally set up a propaganda film in El Salvador with drones and tracking shots and multiple locations. They used it to do like a promotional ad. The thing that they're invoking state secrets privilege over just isn't that much of a secret. It's so inconsistent. Like, either you're being brazen with it or you're desperately trying to hide the evidence. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand the point of like simultaneously flouting the fact that you're doing this illegal, oh yeah, they didn't even commit crimes, we don't fucking care, bro. But then at the same time, you're like, well, actually, none of this happened. Top Justice Department officials told a federal judge on Monday that the Trump administration is invoking the state secrets privilege to avoid giving him information over deportation flights from earlier this month, at the center of a legal dispute over whether government has flouted his judicial commands. Well, that pretty much confirms that they have, if they're invoking state secrets to avoid answering the question. The court has all the facts it needs to address the compliance issues before it, Pam Bondi and other top DOJ officials wrote in a filing to U.S. District Judge James Boasberg. Can somebody get me the full filing, by the way? Can somebody get me the full document? Further intrusions on the executive branch would present dangerous and wholly unwarranted separation of powers harm with respect to diplomatic and national security concerns that the court lacks competence to address. Oh, they're mad. The information sought by the court is subject to the state secrets privilege because disclosure would pose reasonable danger to national security and foreign affairs, the officials wrote in the 10-page filing. Never mind, it's 10 pages. I don't want to read that shit. Fuck you. Here, oh, District Progressive, you were just a little bit too late. Just a little bit too late to be reminded that I'm lazy. This is the battleground, by the way. It looks like this, of all the legal battles, is going to be the one that ends up being the first real test of how far the Trump administration is willing to go to flout the judiciary. You know? Because you have a unique combination of this is an objectively unconstitutional action, right? Being probed into by a persistent judge, James Boasberg. It directly involves the federal government at a like higher level. It's not some boring procedural thing. It's not about like applicability of an executive order. It's about a real tangible action committed by a department of the executive branch now being backed by the weight of the attorney general. So this could end up being the real. I mean, I've already said that it is, and I still believe that. I'm believing it more now that the Trump administration is invoking state secrets privilege. You know, will Boasberg back down? Will he push forward? So what you're saying is Trump won't be able to wiggle his way out of this one? No, I'm saying they might kill him. I'm saying they might kill Judge Boasberg. Gonna toss his ass in El Salvador. I don't know where this is going to go. They already killed that one judge earlier this week. That wasn't a judge. That was a retired district attorney. It's not relevant to this. Included in the Monday evening filing were declarations from Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, who said disclosing the information sought by Boasberg would harm U.S. national security or foreign relations. I don't think this is only making this even more of a battleground. So it's a request for information from the Department of Homeland Security, and then you get a signed note with writing on it from the Attorney General, the Secretary of State, and the Homeland Security Secretary, all being like, nuh-uh. It's like you're involving so much of the executive branch in opposing the inquiries from this judge. You know, you're setting the lines really directly. Does everyone get what I'm talking about here? Am I the only motherfucker around here who knows what's going on? Probably not. Because I'm not, like, supremely educated in the subject. Regime shit? Oh, it's regime shit. Among the questions Boasberg wanted the Justice Department to answer are ones concerning the exact timing of when the two planes took off from U.S. soil and left U.S. airspace that day. We know for a fact that the Department of Homeland Security violated the judge's orders, not just by refusing to turn the planes around when he issued the verbal order that they do so, but one of those planes definitely left after the judge ordered them not to. That's for sure. Are they overcommitting their resources? It's not that they're overcommitting their resources. It's that this is they're turning this into a pretty big deal. I think of this from like a strategic perspective, I guess, from their side. Imagine you're Hitler. I know, joy. So you're Hitler and you run the U.S. government, okay? In your position, what do? How do you resolve this snafu? You violated a circuit court judge's orders. You objectively violated the judge's orders. What do? Do you hide the information that proves you did so in a way that is so obvious and flagrant that it also itself essentially proves that you did so? Do you falsify information? Do you disappear the judge? How do you move forward with this? They're threatening the judge. They're already threatening the judge, by the way. The Attorney General, President Trump, multiple Trump administration officials have already essentially threatened him, like pretty directly threatened him. Threatening to impeach. It's been reported for the past week there's some push to pass legislation to limit a judge's ability to issue injunctions against a presidential order. Yeah, the real regime shit. As well as a push to impeach the judge. But it's not going to happen. An impeachment of Judge Boasberg, that requires the 60 votes in the Senate, no? I'm actually blanking. It's not a simple majority. You need an impeachment majority in order to impeach a federal judge. 2/3, 67. Oh man, it's a real impeachment majority. Two-thirds of the Senate. Schumer, don't underestimate Schumer. Okay, I know you all have reason to doubt me, but I'm going to say this with some confidence. Even with Chuck Schumer, they wouldn't go along with it. There is no way in hell. Absolutely none. Absolutely zero chance. And that's not cope. That's just an impossibility. That's just not happening. As bad as Schumer is, to get that many Senate Dems to vote on the impeachment of a judge for questioning Trump, a lot of Republicans won't vote for impeachment. Well, that I don't believe. I think they'd all vote for impeachment, but how hard would you crash out if they did? I'm going to be honest with you. If they did, if they took that lowest of the low bars, I mean the lowest of the low bars, and they fucked up on that, well, it wouldn't be fucking up, basically. It'd be them stabbing us to death with that. For one, that's flee the country shit. And for two, I will become Brianna Joy Gray. I will turn into the most militantly counterproductive. All canvassing efforts, done. PV association, done. I will turn into the fucking Joker. I will literally have no life purpose besides hating Democrats. I'll become MAGA. I don't care. First axiomatic principle will be hating Democrats. I will do it from any angle. I will join any side. I will be unhinged from reality, from my positions. I'll go hollow. I'll go hollow. You know when you're in the Irithyll dungeons in Dark Souls 3 and there are items you can get from the hollows and you think they're just like inert corpses, but when you pick up the item, you hear them go because they were just barely like sentient enough to feel a mote of suffering when you stole something from them and they've probably been there for like thousands of years. That will be me, essentially. If the Democrats voted along with the impeachment of Judge Boasberg, which might not even happen because it would be very politically difficult to go for. I think that it would be very bad politics for the Republicans. Do you have any idea how like politically divisive that would be? And not in a good way. You know? Like how much attention that would draw. Months and months of all this judge did was ask for departure times on a flight. Let's, like, the administration's like, let's fucking get this guy, you know, like that. I'm not saying they wouldn't do it because they're stupid and evil, but, you know, it would be, I don't know. I don't know. The noise Vosh makes when I loot an expensive jacket from his hollowed corpse. You know it. Real quick banger. You know what I saw recently that really pissed me off? Do lesbians know how annoying they are? Wait, fuck, let me rephrase that. Do people know that when they make statements about, like, the innate beauty of women, even if you do it in a queer way, you're contributing to reactionary tendencies? I saw, you know the trend right now on Twitter where people, like, mostly women, not entirely, are putting their tits up against a book, and you can see their big tits bouncing out, you know? It's cool. That's great. There was a guy who did it, and the guy was pretty muscular. So he had tits himself. You know, he had like big rectangular, he had like big beefy man tits. And he did the same thing. He looked great. But there was a quote tweet of it, and it was like, ew, you know, it looks so much better when women do it. And look, okay, I know that lesbians are a bit defensive because every single lesbian woman grew up with a mom or an aunt or a grandma who was like, when are you going to find yourself a nice man? And I totally sympathize with that. And I understand that after like 20 years of that, a lot of them might be like really reflexively hostile to the idea of being attracted to men. But the idea of like women being the pretty ones and men being the ugly ones isn't a progressive one. It's the opposite. That's the opinion held by like literally every reactionary social order in human history, basically. The idea, like, the women are like the dainty pretty ones and men are like these brutes that, you know, such and such, whereas the idea that men can also be beautiful is, and largely always has been, like a countercultural tendency. Anyway, I don't know. I remember this as well. I remember it with it was it wasn't with the books thing, it was with something else. There was a tweet, and it was a woman's torso, and she was quite skinny, and it had red lines in it that were indents from her wearing a corset. Like, you could see, you know, when you wear it like a tight clothing, you have the lines after, like maybe around your waistline, and it was her from the side, and you could see she had like the lines in it. Ouch. No, not ouch, just like it's like an aesthetic thing, right? It got like a 200 million likes or whatever, and the quote, or the tweet, the text of the tweet said, there is literally nothing more beautiful than the female body. Which, stuff like this just rubs me the wrong way. Part of it's because I like men too, but also it's like, again, somebody saying women are the most beautiful creatures on earth. This could be said by anyone. This could be said by a communist lesbian or a Nazi. Both of them would, like, I don't know. It just, I feel like there's a better way of running this up. I feel like you can appreciate women without doing this, like, comparative shit. I don't know. It's like, yeah, the idea that they're objectively more beautiful, kind of a reactionary sentiment. And also, not to, like, you know, whatever this, but would you do it on racial lines? You know, like, there's nothing as beautiful as, like, the white body. Probably not. Would you do it for, like, Latin? Like, what? Or, like, black people? Because that'd still be weird, right? You wouldn't be like, there's nothing in the world more beautiful than a black female body. And then most people, I think, would hear that and they'd go, well, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's just like, why are we being weird about it, you know? I guess maybe this is like a comparative thing that's not really that fair, because there is a difference between being selective on gender and being selective on race, obviously, but I don't know. Sounding very bi right, Novush? Well, yeah, if I fucked men. I don't know what you... Sounding? That's when you put a rod up your dick hole. I'm told. I'll be honest with you, I looks uncomfortable. It doesn't look, that shit looks terrifying. Whatever people are into, I don't know. And anyway, the point I was getting at is the tweet was saying, like, there's nothing more beautiful than the female body, and then a man quote tweeted it, or I don't know if it was a man who did it. It was probably a man who did it, because men are like this. But they posted a male torso from a similar angle, and the guy was ripped. And I don't want to get into the comparison thing, but, like, it does suck a little bit that people hype up the beauty standards. Like, okay, gay men will hype up dudes with a bit of tummy, but straight guys and a lot of people, a lot of women, like, generally, if you're a man and you want to look pretty for, like, a general audience, you have to be an actual bodybuilder. Like, you even see it in the way people are drawn. You know, you see, like, here's a drawn beautiful woman, here's a drawn beautiful man. And a lot of people, like, the woman will look pretty, and I don't want to say ordinary in a negative way, right? Like, not bad at all. I think women are beautiful, you know? But, like, the woman can look like they don't necessarily go to the gym. But the guys always do. There isn't really an equivalent there, right? Because we still think of, like, well, a woman can be beautiful while still looking leisurely, like they have a leisurely body, like their body isn't, you know, sort of conditioned by years of hard labor. But in order to look like that as a guy, you either have to do years of hard labor or you have to be a gym bro. And you just have to try harder to be beautiful as a guy. But the reverse of this, or the corollary, like, you have to compare it to the counterfactual, and the counterfactual is you might have to work harder to be considered beautiful, like, objectively as a guy, but women get way more shit for not being beautiful, even if they are beautiful. And if they are beautiful, they get shit both for being beautiful and for not being beautiful. So that's the reverse, right? That's the fucked up dialectic. If you're a guy who wants to be beautiful, you have to work really hard. But if you're a woman who just wants to live your fucking life, you're taking shit from all sides, whether you're ugly or not. So, I don't know. It's not good. It's not good. Whereas you can be like a mid guy and it really just doesn't affect your life that much. Obviously, it's nice to be beautiful, but you know. Point is patriarchy hurts everyone or something. Yeah, I just don't think that, and I'm being targeted here. I don't think like lesbians are helping out the dynamic when, because the guy posted his torso, he was very ripped. The guy who posted it, like the woman said, the post of the woman was there's nothing more beautiful in the world than the female body, and then somebody quote tweeted, and it was a guy who was ripped with the ripped torso, like very, very ripped. And then there were people, lesbians presumably, quote tweeting that and going like, oh, I hate it when men do this thing, why men are not as beautiful as women. And it's, again, like, you could be saying that as a adherent of any political ideology. It's not like radical. I don't know. I feel like you can uplift women without denigrating men. And I would say the same in reverse, because there's nothing on earth more cringe than gay men who are misogynistic as a way of legitimizing themselves in their social circles, like, you know, to prove how gay they are or something. So that 100% that is fair across the board. The difference is that that particular kind of catty gay man does not go mega viral on social media these days, because that shit is very like 1980s. You see it in WeHo, but you don't see it that much online. Online, being lesbian's the big thing. There are motherfuckers out there who aren't even lesbian who are acting like lesbians, myself included. So that's the dynamic right now that you see going off, you know? Yes. It is an overplayed dynamic, for sure. 100%. So we just tell everyone they're ugly? Yes, it's the only way, actually. Why did I get on this? It's not just a Twitter thing, I guess. It's a broader queer. Oh, it's saying OBS disconnected. Okay, it's gonna do a little hiccup. That's fine. I'll continue. You can't uplift women and denigrate men by saying women are naturally more beautiful than men, because you're only you're dumping more water into the bucket that is like the pre-existing dynamic, right? Oh no, I was like, oh, it did a little hiccup. You guys are fine. You guys are fine. There, refresh stream for viewers. You're fine. You're fine. I don't think Vosh knows anything about the gay community. Why is it you people, you always, you want to go dick for dick? You want to talk dick sucked, glory holes visited? Well, maybe you'd win, because to be honest with you, I'm not really a glory hole kind of guy. But everyone's always judging. Why can't you just say we have different perceptions? Why does it have to be like this guy's not a real homosexual, okay? I grew up right next to WeHo. I went there every goddamn Halloween, and then every day in between. Women are naturally more beautiful than men. See, now you're doing the thing. The idea that women are naturally more beautiful betrays that in your mind you believe in natural beauty that is like divorced from social conditioning, which is like a massive L when it comes to the sociological imagination, right? Like, if you genuinely think, like, with all the culture that you've been exposed to in your life, from birth, literally like birth, like the moment you got out to now, isn't it like instinct? No, there is nothing instinct-wise that directs the human race to think that the female half of the race is more naturally aesthetically pleasing. That is literally, the Greeks thought the other way around. That's not there's nothing natural about that bias. Women are on average more beautiful, but a beautiful man is rare. No, you're doing the thing. It's not okay, just don't essentialize. Like, women are seen as more beautiful in general. Obviously, women are seen as more beautiful. But we're all subject to our biases on this, obviously. We're not talking about who you find hotter. That's a sexuality thing. We're talking about the social biases and conditioning concerning our understanding of beauty, like beauty. Lol, that's why they made women statues, right? I'm pretty sure I've seen statues of men as well. I could be wrong. Maybe I haven't. Pretty sure David is a dude. Maybe. I agree it's social conditioning, but I can't just magically undo 20 plus years of social conditioning on beauty standards. I didn't ask you to. No one asked that of you. WWE made Gulf of America man as a new wrestler. That's good. That's great. Most women hold beauty as one of the core pillars to their life. No men, so why would it not be true? You're deep in the pit. You're lost in the sauce. That sounded like YouTube. That was a YouTube chat comment in VGG. I wonder what happened to all the naked male statues. They're literally like everywhere. Like you can, like, if you go to places where statues are, there are probably naked male statues. Like wherever you'd go to see a statue. I saw a marble penis on a school field trip in Europe. That's great, man. Chad has never seen a twink. You know, I resent the shift, the definitional shift of twink over time. I don't respect it. Twink doesn't mean anything anymore. Twink is like a gay culture subset of like young, skinny, hairless guys, but not feminine. It wasn't like a femboy or whatever the fuck thing. Now twink means anything. And twink is when they're a bit thicker, hairier, beefier, whatever. There's a lot of overlap there. But now everything just gets blended together. And now the heterosexuals are using these terms. Straight people say top and bottom now. I don't know. No, they don't. Yeah, they do. Isn't it a genetic thing? Men are pressured by evolution to spread their genes wide for maximum survivability, while females are selective due to the amount of energy required to have kids? No. It's Evo Psych pseudoscience. Evolutionary psychology is largely considered a pseudoscience because there's no real way to test their theories. They just come up with explanations after the fact for things they think are the way they are for reasons that make sense to them. You're not really experimenting or testing anything. You're just like post hoc rationalizing, which is why it's like a favored science with dude bros. No, I'm not mad at the chatter for asking. It's an earnestly asked question. Don't be vindictive. I get more annoyed by you motherfuckers adding me 3 times in a row to ask me if I've seen an article that I covered 2 days ago than I am by somebody asking a question like that. There are like evolutionary influences in our preferences, but I think it's like if you take a look at what we dictate our lives to be day after day, it's pretty obvious that an overwhelming amount of our biases, even when it comes to innate impulses like sexuality, are dictated by social pressures rather than by evolutionary genetic biases, you know? Like, we're very smart. You take a cat, you can train a cat as much as you want, cat's still gonna act like a cat. Same with a dog. They are the way they are. Humans, you can get a surprising amount of variety with us. You can get a shocking amount. And it's just because we're capable, our learned behaviors overtake the... look, I'll put it this way, okay? If our behavior was dictated primarily by evolutionary impulse, we would not be able to live in the worlds we've created for ourselves. The world we live in now is nothing like the world our brains evolved in. You know, we have adapted to sets of circumstances that are, not just incomprehensible to us, but to, like, natural existence. And we just glide into it, you know? We just slide into that shit. Sleep patterns, the way we eat, the way we think, the way we hunt, the way we make mood, the way we flirt, engage with others, the way we do every structure in our lives, incomprehensible, you know? To humans 10,000 years ago, or honestly, 100 years ago, to be honest with you. We're very we're anti-natural order, you know? I remember hearing that being overweight was a really attractive trait, whereas today I don't think it's true anymore. No shade to anyone. No, I mean, it varies massively. I mean, there are a lot of people who find it attractive today. They just don't get talked about as much. It's not as mainstream. But yeah, being overweight used to be seen as more of like a sign of wealth and privilege. Because of the excess food. Yeah, just like the being pale versus being tan. Look, I'll give you the easiest counter. If our preferences and biases when it comes to who we love, who we want to fuck or raise kids with, you know, if they're all dictated by women want security and men want a good genetic pool to like fuck and reproduce out, how do you explain literally every couple and romantic relationship you've ever seen, both in person and online? Just out of curiosity, like how does that gel with the real world? Because this seems like a position held very much in a theoretical space, and then you look at the real world, and then it's like, wait, hold on a second, this conforms to literally nothing in reality. Oh, women only go after the top 20% of males. Okay, then explain anything in the real world. Like what? Okay, well, you've got a lot to explain then with this theory, because I've known so many guys who are not top 20% males who have no issues with any of this, you know? You think that people are exclusively motivated by the underlying biological reproduction or whatever? Okay, explain like all fetishes, including your own, by the way. All the people posting like this are into like Japanese fetish rape tentacle porn or whatever. What does that have to do with reproduction? You're into finding the best genetic like mate to pair bond with, yet you're pre-selecting for women who act like femcells. Like you're looking for a, you know, a woman with like stringy hair who will know all the 4chan memes you talk about. You really think that's the breeding stock that optimizes the likelihood of your children surviving in the wilderness? You're not going after women who are strong or who have like homekeeping skills. You're going after schizos like you because you share interests. How does sharing interests relate to the, well, men just fuck around because they want to spread their genes everywhere? How do you should even be talking to this woman. You should fuck her and then move on. Oh, the real world doesn't work that way? That's what I thought. You should really watch Adolescence, though. Nah, I already had it myself. It was fine. I'm 31 now. I'm okay with that. You should really watch Severance, though. Yeah. A fit person would not date a fat slob. Wait, hold on. You're the same guy who was being stupid before. Dog, do you have any idea how fucking hot my, do you have any idea how many, like, hot men and women I hooked up with when I was 290 pounds? It's literally like I know everyone wants to think it's well, actually it's like the star sign that prevents me from having sex with no, you literally just make someone laugh and you get away with anything. It's crazy. You're almost 300 pounds. I was 290 when I started the channel. Must be so easy having a personality. Yeah, you know what? You know what? Everyone wants to write it off. You know what? Having a good personality is harder than being in shape. And you know what? That's backed by evidence. Because I know that thermodynamically, basically everyone can get in shape. Obviously, there are exceptions. But for the most part, yeah. But the way I've seen it out in the real world, a lot of you motherfuckers just cannot develop a good personality. Not just you, everyone. That's the tough part, right? You know, I don't have to walk very far when I'm walking around town to find someone who's in shape. But I bet you if I went, you know, person to person talking to them, I might be a little while before I find someone with a good personality. And I don't just mean nice, I mean interesting too. Apparently, that's the tough part. All we know is charge we phone, and some of you people don't even know that. Oh yeah, I'm out. I can be kind but not interesting, lol. You don't have to be pathetic. You should never talk down on your personality. Because that's the guarantee. That's the death knell right there. You got a problem with your personality, fine. You know, I guess no one's perfect. Everyone does. Everyone wishes they were a little more this or that. I could be a better listener. But if you're talking down on yourself, it pretty much guarantees failure there, right? Your personality is you. You have to uplift yourself. This is the consequence of decades of cultural normalization of self-deprecating humor, where for so long, the way you come across as relatable to others is by performatively, insincerely talking down on yourself, and you do it so much that eventually you start to believe it. That shit needs to go, okay? I would rather performative self-aggrandization or aggrandization or self, you know, bolster yourself. Whatever. Be confident. This is one of the reasons why girls love their gay best friend and why queer people in general are more aggrandization. Thank you. Why queer people in general tend to be more boisterous, okay? Because in a society, not to joker myself here, but in a society where there's a social cultural bias against your demographic, there's a greater incentive to practice self-love. You know, you get like the queer people together. And I mean, by the way, I mean older queer. Because now with the internet, now the homosexuals are also doing the self-deprecating shit. What the fuck is wrong with you? You're a goddamn transgender woman. What are you doing being performatively self-deprecating? Isn't life hard enough? It's pathetic. This is like internet brainworm shit, man. Again, you talk to the older gays and they'll talk themselves up every other sentence. Honestly, it's a little annoying. Again, grew up near WeHo. But like, you have to have a bit of an ego. You have to buff yourself up a little bit. Self-deprecation in service of a lack of confidence is different from confidently doing it for humor. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm tired of people doing it confidently for humor. I'm tired of that. Frankly, you people just don't know how to do it. The few times I do self-deprecating jokes, everyone knows it's a joke because I come across as so full of myself most of the time up here on stream that you know, you know where I'm coming at it from. I've set the groundwork. I've laid the foundation, right? I can make these jokes. People understand the tone, but I promise you, whether you think you're being funny or not, your self-deprecating jokes are making the people around you tired. They're not making you look relatable to others. The people in your friend circle are listening and they're going, fuck, is that like a real cry for help or not? Okay, can I like add on to the joke by adding to the denigration on them? Or are they like soft pitching an actual insecurity and I have to like walk like, and I have to like soothe them, and then they sue and it's a 50-50, and now they soothe you when you were being sincerely like joking about it, and now you're like, no, I'm kidding, ha ha ha, and no one feels good. Or the opposite happens and you're softballing an actual insecurity and they pile onto it and you don't say anything because you're a little bitch, and then you keep that with you, and 16 years from now you'll like cry about it or something. Okay, stop. This shit's exhausting. It's exhausting to be around. It doesn't make you look more relatable. You're just baiting other people's, even if you don't think you are, you're baiting other people's like worried emotional investment in either direction. Like how some people literally refuse to take compliments. Oh my God, yeah. Learn to take compliments. If somebody compliments you, you know what you say? You know what you say? Thank you. I really appreciate it. That's it. That's it. You're done. You don't have to put any more thought into it. That's it. It's as simple as that. You don't have to argue. What if they're complimenting me to get something from me? Then thank them for the compliment, and then whether or not they get the thing they want, that's up to you. It's a separate issue. You can accept the compliment either way. Is it not self-deprecating humor in a roundabout way when you yourself do the ironic narcissism type humor? Like I always perceived it as you making fun of your own ego. Yeah, but it's like a double reverse, not self-deprecating joke, because I don't actually think I have that big of an ego. I play up having a big ego because I think that you guys better relate to a dynamic where my performative overconfidence gets played up as a streamer. That is to say, I think that it works better than if look, I'll put it this way, and trust me, this is 5 years of trial and error up here. There's not a fucking rule book on it, okay? If you come up here and do this to these audience sizes, and you are as susceptible to criticism and scrutiny as you would be in your day-to-day life from regular normal people, like just interpersonal interactions or whatever, your ass is out. You're going to have a mental breakdown before you hit year one. 100%. Absolutely. You have to be up here with some sturdy stone balls. You just have to, I'm sorry. Or like a stone pussy. Honestly, both are fine. You can have both even. And that's not even a matter of having a big ego. It's just about understanding the dynamic. Honestly, it's a point of social it's like an exercise of social competence, right? It's not about actually thinking you're all that. It's about knowing the role that you're in relative to others. You're not having a one-on-one. You're not talking with your friends. You're a live streamer. There's an improv element. There's an entertainment element to it, right? There's a simultaneous responsibility, both from a professional standpoint and an ethical one, to entertain and to inform. A lot of the stuff I talk about, I just learn here on stream too, right? So I try to come at it from a sort of, leveled perspective, right? It's relatable. We're all here. We're in it together, but I'm still here, and I want to feel a bit of contempt to you, and I want you to feel a bit of contempt to me. I don't want you to be deferential to me. That annoys me, and I certainly am not going to be deferential to you. And that's the cycle. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's a wonderful thing. And it's phenomenal for my mental health, honestly. You go through all this negative shit in the news these days, this is a good dynamic. This is a good framework to view it through. Now, the confidence on my end is legitimate. I'm pretty boisterous in real life, too, at least when I'm not distracted or tired, which I often am, whatever. But for the most part, this is a specific dynamic, right? I don't talk like this when I'm at the club, largely because I don't go to clubs. You get me. What was I talking about here? Oh, yeah. So that's why I don't consider what I do with the ego joke self-deprecation. I consider it like a core component, a recognition of the dynamic. I'll say this much. When I make a joke about my ego, are there people in chat going, "Oh, come on, Vosh. Don't talk down to yourself like that. I don't think you're that full of yourself. I think you're pretty level-headed." For the most part, no, because people read the tone, which I appreciate. I can't do tone indicators while speaking. And that fad went out pretty quick, huh? The tone indicators? Yeah. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, don't make self-deprecating jokes. Don't. Is there any way to be able to learn how to get better at being funny? Or can it only come naturally? It comes naturally when you have the experience with it. You just need the experience. Perfect practice makes perfect. You just got to talk to people and try to maximize the elements of your personality that you think work. Think about what other people want. Every person you talk to is going to want different specific things. But people, generally speaking, right, from an interaction they're having, especially in a social setting, you're not talking to someone in the bathroom, right? For the most part, they want to be entertained. Maybe they're looking for something else, comfort in a specific situation or like relatability, whatever. For the most part, they want to be entertained. You're meeting a new person, or maybe you've met them 2 or 3 times, but you're still looking for the mutual entertainment. We're not talking about deep love and investment here. We're not looking for, opening a joint bank account. We're talking about a good time. We're talking about fun. How do you entertain other people? Certainly not by being self-deprecating. You relate to people. You have shared interests, You meet their expectations in certain core ways, but you also defy their expectations in other ways, enough to keep things interesting. You want that from them too, I bet. Or maybe you're on a lower level. Maybe you just want a girl to listen to you. I don't know. Whatever you want. But I bet you've got the sauce. Okay? It's not about whether you have the sauce. It's how you present it. If you have interests, if you have things you're into, if there are things in your life that bring you joy, you have feelings about them, you can present that. You can package that. It's really just a matter of presentation, not content. People think that being funny or being charismatic are some kind of like innate trait, or you have something or you don't. That's not true. Yeah, exactly, Thana. It really is about putting on a show. But when people hear that, what they think is like, oh, it's insincere, it's performative. Well, it is performative. They think it's insincere, they think it's bad, right? Oh, you're putting on a show. Oh, what? So it's like everyone's like faking it. Well, yeah, kind of, in the sense that in a social setting, people aren't usually being totally authentic. Because if you were being totally authentic with no social pressure acting on you whatsoever, what would you be doing right now? You would be like naked in your computer chair, scratching your asshole, looking at like porn on your first monitor, and your second monitor would have like a YouTube video essay. You'd be shitting and farting. Oh, no social pressure. Okay, time to like picket a scab on my leg or something. Like, what do you mean? You're always being performative when you're engaging with other people. There's always an artifice. That doesn't mean that it's fake. It's just a different context. In the same way that the way I talk to you guys isn't fake, I just recognize that as a streamer, this is a presentational context that's very distinct from the way you interact with people normally in day-to-day life. It's informed by the way I interact to other people in my day-to-day life. And when you're out at a bar or in the club or whatever else, you know, you're using the root personality, your thoughts and feelings, and you're putting it through a different framework. But that I don't even think it's like wearing a mask. I feel like I'm pretty authentic when I'm on stream. It's just a different context, a different presentation. You have a beautiful gemstone and you show it off, you know, in front of the window so it catches the light, or above the mantle where it doesn't catch the light but it like flickers in the flame, or it's the same gem. It is a form of code switching, 100%, yeah. And you want to back and forth that. You get better at it, you get some practice talking to other people, and you begin to understand what they want, like what resonates with people. And that varies a lot, you know? And really, if you get keen on that, you get like the core of socializing, which is reading subtle cues on what other people are really saying when they say a thing. And you're thinking, normies, why can't they just say what they mean? You don't either. Because if you were just saying what you'd be meaning, you would walk up to the girl at the party and you'd say, "You've huge tits and I want to fuck you. How do I talk to you? Your earrings, your hair. I saw you over by the punch bowl. Tits. And do you like punch? That could work if you're hot. That could work, but you'd have to be really hot. You know? The Rizzler. Yeah, you don't say what you mean, okay? Everyone frames it. It's always framing. You talk to anyone, it's your framing. The love of your life, you're framing things. Your mother, you're framing things. Your children, you're framing things. You're never just doing a one-to-one thought to voice. No one does that. The English language doesn't contain the words necessary to perfectly transcribe all the information up there, okay? All forms of communication are just an imperfect facsimile for direct mind-to-mind contact. So when you bemoan the normie for not being clear with what they want, keep in mind you're doing the same thing, okay? They might be doing it in a different way, but you're doing the same thing. You don't want the direct mind-to-mind communication anyway. Even if it was possible, which it's not, you don't want it because everyone would just sound like a fucking mess to each other all the time. It's like when people talk, they shit talk about small talk. You know, this is like a very specific genre of autist and like 16-year-old and person who needs to get out more, where they're like, I hate small talk. What if we talked about the deep things? Yeah, sure. Go to a bar and talk about, you know, I don't fucking, some asinine, meaningless, pseudo-intellectual bullshit, like where you think the universe came from, to a person on the other side of the counter. Oh, yeah, the girl who's looking at you and gave you a smile. You should go up to her and like, I don't know, ask her what she feels about the meaning of life. Or like ask her how she feels about like what it says about humanity that we've sequenced the DNA of the human species and now know what we're made of on a constitutional level. Throw that one at her, see how it goes. The reason you don't open with gay bullshit like that is because small talk is a delivery mechanism for all of the subtle communicative intricacies of what you're interested in and what you want to hear about. It's not just a social lubricant. You learn about people when you small talk. I'm not going to learn anything about you if you come at me with that gay bullshit other than that you're insufferable. You come at me with like, are you enjoying your drink? Give me 15 seconds and I can find out plenty about you. Are you playful? Are you serious? What are you interested in? What empathy? But do you listen or do you just wait for your turn to speak? What topics are you more comfortable with? Do you defer to weather and outdoorsy stuff? Do you defer to more indoorsy stuff, nerdy hobbies? What's your version of small talk? It's not like small talk is just 5 topics. Small talk can be 500,000 topics, right? What do you default to? What works with you? Are you more empathetic? Do you ask questions about how the other person is doing, or do you talk about how you're doing, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. That can go perfectly fine. It's just like, what is important to you? What do you relate to? What do you engage with? And what do they do that you resonate with? It's all simple stuff. It's small talk. It's the small talk you do before you get to the big talk. And when people say they don't like small talk, what I hear is you're bad at conversations. You don't understand what they're for. You don't understand their purpose. Lol, I love him imagining the straw man in chat that he's mad at. So much fun. So speaking of lacking social graces, what you failed to recognize in me here is that I'm talking about things that I'm interested in, and I'm using the framework of engaging with chat to discuss these ideas. I'm kind of bouncing back and forth off of them. They say something, I say something. I'm not really imagining someone and getting angry at them. I'm actually just sharing my thoughts and feelings. See, that's another example of how there's not always a perfect connection between what a person seems to be saying and what the underlying meaning of their statement is, right? This is a conversational engagement, very much like sometimes I get angry at a chatter in a manner which I would consider performative. The point there isn't the anger. The point there is I am an entertainer. I like to engage with these ideas and subjects in a format that people find engaging. And by the way, what I find engaging, right? Like I could just sit up here and just drone through every topic I have in my mind. I just remember this other thing that I'd like to talk about. I will now talk about that thing. Why would I do this? There's an artifice, sure, but it's a transparent one. And that's the way it is with small talk too, you know? Small talk isn't this impermeable social barrier that you can't see through or anything. It's meant to be engaged with. I think people really miss the skill part of social skills and don't want to practice to make it easier to be sociable. Yeah, where did this idea come about that social skills are natural? It's literally called a skill. Like you say, people are like, well, I don't know how to talk to people. Have you tried? You imagine that being applied to literally anything else. Well, I don't know how to paint. I really want to paint, but I don't know how to paint. Have you tried painting? No, I'm too scared to. Dog, they're low stakes engagements, okay? Going to the grocery store and striking up a 2-minute conversation with the college student working at the Trader Joe's or whatever, it's low stakes, okay? Frankly, you're out $15 for canvas paints and brushes. If you fuck up with a painting, minimum 15, you go to the Trader Joe's, you can buy an apple for 89 cents. Probably less, I don't know. It's not that expensive, maybe. I wouldn't know, I don't eat apples. You go for the conversation. That's one of the main appeals of going to a bar. You talk to a person you'll likely never meet again. Yeah, it's good. You want those low-stakes social engagements so you have the opportunity to, get a little bit better at them. You're practice to do the things. No. Social anxiety sucks, but you can get over it. Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. And also, so many of the people who have social anxiety have literally like no counterexamples, right? Like in their head, they're like, well, if I socialize, it'll be bad because I'll fuck it up, and then they just never test that theory. I don't know. I feel like you should look. It's not arachnophobia. You don't need to be bitten by a spider to know you find him freaky. I think you should put a bit more effort into the conversations before you decide that they're all going to go bad. And how bad will it be? Maybe you're a little awkward. Who fucking cares? You have to know it's okay to fuck up a canvas? Yeah. But again, the stakes are really low. A lot of my social anxiety is the result of auditory hypersensitivity. That part isn't something you get over. All right, then talk to people in a quiet place. Bring people to museums. I don't fucking care. Lock them in your basement. I don't know. Libraries are nice. Yeah, go after the library bitches. Hold up, why the fuck is Vosh live at midnight on the East Coast? He's like never live at this time. Does bro just need money? Hold on, you're the same person who said I was arguing with chat. Channel activity. Shameless money stream, aka Vosh gotta pay rent. Well, at least he's not talking about fashion or weed. You have a timeout? Do you know how infrequently timeouts occur in the YouTube chat? Oh, this motherfucker. OMG, notice me, daddy. I'm chalking this one up to mental illness. Go to Valhalla, by which I mean 24 hours of being in timeout. I don't even know if you deserve it. I just kind of want to. I just don't want to see you in the chat for a second. It's not really a reason. You haven't even really done anything, I guess. It's just sort of a executive privilege there. Is there a hack for when you don't know what to say in a conversation but don't want it to die out? I mean, if you don't have anything to say, sometimes a conversation should naturally truncate. If you're desperately trying to like pull out additional topics or whatever, you know. If the conversation's going well, sometimes still, you know, the convo just kind of dies down a little bit. You've got other stuff to do, whatever. You can end a conversation gracefully. Talk later. I keep running into an issue where I do ask questions about them in social settings, but they never reciprocate questions back to me. How do you handle that? I mean, sometimes, like, keep in mind that a lot of people that you're going to interact with day to day, if you're trying to be social, aren't great at socializing. Like, a lot of people, if you're making an effort to be social, it's often going to be that way, right? But that happens in both directions. There have been lots of times in my life where I've been the one just going like, oh yeah, you know, da-da-da, and they've been asking me questions. Usually question asking is kind of like a one-way thing, right? Like it doesn't usually get traded off that much. So even if I'm talking to another very social person, and I'm the one who's like inquisitive first, it's like who takes the question role, who takes the answer role. And that can flip later, but it's not usually a back and forth thing because that's a bit conversationally awkward, right? You ask a question, da-da-da-da-da, and they're like, okay, da-da, well, what about you? When it might be more natural in the context of the conversation to just piggyback off the answer they just provided you to your initial question, you know? You want to, It's all very contextual, but don't feel like that necessarily means that people aren't interested in talking to you. Where'd you get that denim jacket from? 18 East. It's I like it quite a bit. I think it's got a really nice. It's got the classic. Probably fuck this up because I'm doing it on camera. You know, go on, fuck me up by not letting me do it. End my stream. There we go. It's got a really nice, like, nice chill vibe. Does it have inside pockets? Well, it's got these. And it's got these chest pockets that are very roomy. And I have... No, it was expensive. Is that denim or leather? It's denim. Isn't that warm? No, it's unlined. Just a thin sheet of denim. Warm weather jacket. Is that selvage? I know it's raw. I don't know if it's selvage. Do I see a selvage? No. I don't know where they'd put the selvage for a cut like this. I get you, Senator J. Fontenot. You always got to be ready to drop a topic, you know? Any recommendations for a winter coat? Don't ask me questions like that. I'm going to answer with some expensive shit now at this point. Yeah, honestly, just thrift it. Seriously, just go on eBay. You can probably find like a heavy wool coat for like $150. Is the arm pocket real? Yeah. Need one's the only reason I ask, and money isn't an issue. Well, the Anthology has a wonderful camel hair coat. Polo Ralph Lauren, obviously. I mean, it depends on your styling tastes. The Wanderer's coat from Captain Sunshine, I've heard. Dye Workwear likes that one quite a bit. I'm quite fond of the heavy polo coat from Wythe, though they're currently out of it, and they're not going to be back into it until fall or winter. Would you say Slavoj Žižek is charismatic? Of course. Is Ralph Lauren actually a good brand? Yeah. Yeah, they make good stuff. Probably not as good as the older stuff they used to make. You know, you want to find older stuff, 80s, 70s, or whatever. I got a cute double RL blazer secondhand for very cheap. Lucky. Yeah, Purple Label Ralph Lauren's highly prized, but their suits are also like $4,000. So that's a lot. What's Purple Label? It's a Ralph Lauren sub-brand. Thoughts on the current state of Brooks Brothers? They're in a fallen state. You know, it has been a while since I've streamed this late. I think I just felt my energy and interest in streaming dwindle. Nice. All right. Well, that was a good stream. Had a lot of topics. It's over. Now, I'll be here tomorrow morning. I think I'm going to read today's donations tomorrow morning. Tomorrow mornings, I'm not going to stream on Wednesday. I should be able to stream on Thursday. We're keeping a decent clip here. You know, you have nothing to complain about, especially not you white names. And isn't everyone in YouTube a white name, if you think about it? Good stream. I actually had a lot of... I think this was a great stream, personally. In my personal opinion. I love you all very much. Please take care. Keep in mind all the advice, or don't. You know, you can do either. I'm not really your dad. I'm not your mom either. You know. With gender being the way that it is right now, I understand, you know, you could go either way, but I'm not either. I'm not your non-binary parent either, so I'm not in charge of you, is what I'm saying. I'm not your boss. I am your streamer, in a sense. I don't know if I'd say I'm your streamer necessarily. I'm a streamer that you view, but, you know, there's not really the possessive article to that, the way that there is for, like, parenting. You understand. Good luck. I'll see you guys soon.